the line of monstrous bandits advance towards you. You hear creaking coming from the woods, when suddenly, belching out from the forest, the dire troll. You're up first.
I cast Fireball.
That's all of them. Roll damage.
All sixes.
Yeah!
Booyah!
All right, you're next.
I cast Cone of Cold. It says AD8 right here. 64 points of damage.
I cast Lightning Bolt.
That's all right with me.
You just did that.
Radiates this like golden energy, and I cast shield.
He looks down in sorrow and then turns a fiery gaze to the rest of you. And that's where we're going to end tonight's episode.
You mother.
I'm Cork.
Nice. Cool.
Give him the official herald salute, Arcana crew.
Was that gonna be the answer no matter what?
Yes.
Okay.
And very quickly, my head just turns. It's almost like someone called me, and I look back at you and I give you one last wave and one little sad look before blowing you a kiss and waving goodbye.
She goes, hot damn, mama. And I'm gonna slap her on the ass, and then I'm gonna whip around behind.
We have an unboxing to do. This was sent to us by a wonderful viewer of the show who's been with us from the very beginning, I believe.
Yeah.
In this package, there are gifts for all of you, as well as candy to share.
I already prepped.
Okay.
Whoa!
Hooray.
The end of it now, you're coming to the other side. I need everybody to make one more constitution. And makes it over to this pillar.
Also, Cameron, this map looks amazing.
Right?
So if I can throw that out.
I built it with my own two hands.
What about that other hand? What was it?
It watched. Stay safe out there, adventurers.
Listen, I can only catch the.
Welcome, travelers, to another thrilling episode of Arcanarama. Their dried beds became the cracks that sundered mountains. I'm Cameron Holt, your DM for the evening. I'm joined, as always, by the intrepid Arcana crew. Introduce yourselves, Arcana crew. You.
Me.
I was doing mine.
Yeah.
Also,
You cut her off. She was doing hers.
scene change. There we go.
Oh.
I do it with my fingers.
Is it me? It's me.
Yeah.
The dollar genital, Taylor Higginbotham.
And I'm resident bad boy, Kitty.
Hi, it's me, your nephew, all grown up, making you remember that you're getting older. Josh Kitchens.
Sam.
Excellent, excellent. Before we begin, we have some announcements to get through, so I'm going to throw it yet again to Taylor to tell you a little bit about our sponsor this evening. Taylor, take it away.
Thanks, Cam. The sponsors are the Gilded Rogue. That's one of them, at least. And there's shirts there, and there's a bookshelf that you can buy that says "I like D&D" on it. That's not true, but I was hoping you'd be so curious that you would stop watching right now and go check out thegildedrogue.com.
Leave
doing
this
that.
Twitch page.
Yeah.
Evacuate the chat.
Open a
There's a
new
really
tab.
cool way to get there is through our about.
Yeah. Look, right click and open thegildedrogue.com so you can see a mug that lets everyone know that you like D&D. Okay? And when you do that, a tree is planted. Think about that for just a second. You get a shirt and then a tree gets planted. That's it. That's how it happens. And then you get report cards, and nature's like, they got an A and B in a tree. They got a B plus in soil interaction. I don't
Wait,
know the parameters.
My tree only
of
got a
the
B plus in soil?
I know.
Photosynthesis, maybe.
But you get all that stuff when you buy things. Every time you buy an item, a tree is planted elsewhere in the world, and you get to learn about it. So go to thegildedrogue.com and
Buy a forest of merch.
Thank you, Cameron. That was the sponsor that I have to talk about.
Thank you, Taylor. Kitty,
Yeah.
what do we do?
Well, we do a lot of things, but one of those things is making bonus content for our patrons. If you go to patreon.com/Arcanarama, you can look at all of that shit if you want. There's Chaos Hours, which is a fun little talkback show that we do after every episode, talking about what just happened. And then there's also a whole ass podcast that we recorded before we started deciding we should be on camera for this, called Guardians of the Phoenix. It was great. It was very fun. There was a lot of pizza and burps and beers. It was a good time.
The darkest beer.
Yes.
So many.
The peanut butterest beer.
Oh my god.
Winter for most of
I'm
it,
surprised
to
our
be
house
fair.
didn't lift from the gas. That was great. It was so intense.
There's also a lot of bonus like artwork. You get to see some artwork come out before like the things for it come out, which is really cool. Sometimes we do polls on like merch ideas and things like that, and it's a really fun place to be. And also, if you're like one of the few people that are caught up and you're like, I need more stuff, Patreon is where to find it.
Hell yeah. Thanks, Kitty.
Yeah.
Sam. This is our second sponsor this evening.
Oh, a second sponsor. There's two. There's two. Our other sponsor is More Fun Comics and Games. They provide some of our mystery mini giveaways, which we'll probably be doing one of those soon in Discord.
Discord.
You should go check them out on social media. They have a lot of comic books. They're a really cool community environment. They're our local comic book shop. That's where we get our goodies. Usually we pay. Sometimes they just give us stuff.
You'd be
I pay
surprised
for
they
it.
don't really
You pay.
recognize us as cast members of Arcanarama.
We should just start wearing shirts, hats, throwing stickers at people. You sponsor us!
Yeah.
Go check them out on social media. Give them a hello. Say that you're from Arcanarama. It helps them. It helps us to get more cool stuff to send you once a month on Discord. Go there.
Yeah, make it your mission this week to get the social media person for More Fun Comics and Games to be like, what's Arcanarama?
What becomes of
Hey, Tim, I keep getting these really alarming messages. Someone sent me a nude.
Don't send nudes.
Don't do that.
Unless
I'm not
they-
telling them to. I'm
Unless you guys
saying they
mutually
could.
agree that More Fun Comics and Games wants to see your nudes.
I feel like this follows this up. Can you check your vibes?
Weird.
I have disadvantage, right?
Yeah.
I got an 8.
I have a level of exhaustion.
On a level.
Is it from sitting
On a
right there?
level.
Is it from sitting next to him?
No. Surprisingly not.
I got a. If I'm rolling at disadvantage, I got a 9.
I got a 12.
Instructing
2.
you to send nudes to our sponsor. I'm saying you would leave an impression if you did, but don't.
Don't do that.
But it could leave a very long-lasting impression.
A bad
If
one.
y'all want to join us in the vibe check, exclaim DC.
Exclaim, but-
Exclaim it in the chat.
Exclaim it.
Vibe check.
VC! I know it's probably been
Andrews.
weeks since this has happened, but we did get the vibe check sorted out with Arcanarama, so they are working again in the chat.
Yay, time travel.
Woo!
Unlike my OBS controller.
Katie, what did you get on your vibes?
12.
Nice. Sam, did you also get a 12?
I got a 12.
Hell yeah.
Ah,
Could I have actually each of you roll one more time?
me and
Because
us
12 was
for
the
no
highest
reason.
number.
I rolled a 2. That's
Six.
great.
16.
Nice.
I was gonna say.
We're on our own adventure today.
Yeah.
Rad.
Go.
Well, with all of that out of the way, it's time to don our disguises and lie in tonight's episode of Arcanarama. I was trying. Previously on Arcanarama. After arriving at their keep in Chillrun, the Mistwalkers set out to meet with Genevieve at the Firefrost Tavern. There, Genevieve filled the party in on various world events that took place during their absence, namely the growing tensions between Mistinor and Windfell, the dissolution of their exile from Waterdeep, and the growing tensions within the city between the council members and the cult known as the Children of the Mist. The party headed to Silverlight Park to covertly listen in on one of the cultists' public speeches, but things went quickly downhill when Alma was recognized. In the chaos that involved a sheep-like Furbolg family and the tossing of Silas the Rat, Cholula and Howie managed to infiltrate one of the secret headquarters of the Children of the Mist, a hideout that's a little too close to home for comfort. What schemes are the Children of the Mist planning in the city? Will the Mistwalkers undermine them, or come to side with the party that claims to seek what is best for the people? Find out right now on Arcanarama. We pick up as Silas, Alma, and Pippin have made their way back to the Firefrost Tavern in Chillrun. We start, however, with Cholula and Howie, who have infiltrated one of the hideouts of the Children of Mist. You're currently speaking with a tiefling man named Horace, but several other figures, including Sybil Terswind, the figurehead of the organization, are also present. Horace reaches into his pocket and pulls out a cloth and a pair of spectacles and begins cleaning them before placing them on his face. Might I have a word with you alone?
Sure.
Yeah.
Leave us, please. And all the others in the room kind of like nod. They don't head outside, but they head through a doorway that you can see as it open leads into a hall, and they kind of like make their way down into various other rooms, closing the door behind them. I must make a confession. I know who you are. Don't be alarmed. The others do not have the means of seeing through such things. I am not truly a member of this organization. Myself and my companion Kendry are actually spies from an organization known as the Harpers. I presume you're familiar with. We were sent to keep tabs on the Children of the Mist in fear that it might have grown to have too much influence. I must urge you, Miss Duvet, your presence and the presence of your friends is absolutely necessary in Fort Hornwood to the west. There is war on the horizon, and the leader of our organization believes that the Mistwalkers might be the only ones who can prevent it.
What about here? Is there actually an issue with Kimberly or Vegan?
So, the Children of the Mist, I admit, they are planning to falsely incriminate Kimberly, Snowspot, and Vegan Slybearer, revealing a trail of forged documents implicating them in a plot to put control of the city back in the hands of the Temple of the Fairfather. We have a number of city guards, as well as Kimberly's personal assistant and priest of the Fairfather, a half-elf man named Benwin Midsong. They plan to plant and discover the evidence in the coming 10 days. This plan was set in place by Sybil Turswind, and only she, myself, Kendry, and 2 other chapter leaders know about its falsity. We've been, myself and Kendry, playing along to obviously not have ourselves be discovered and to work our way up through the organization. But our main reason for coming here was we figured having your names attached to an organization such as this would be the most likely place, if you were to resurface, where you would. You said... Hang on. I don't know if you did say that. Where have you been this past decade?
Oh, we did say that we
You
had
did say
been
that.
in Vorka, because he said something about lost to time.
Right.
Yeah.
Lost to time. The Harpers recently, in a separate chapter of the organization, you could say, in Vasica, near Gold Run, unearthed a temple to, we believe, a deity. It doesn't match any of the deities in our current pantheon, so we're still doing some research, but a number of stone tablets were found. And we've been taking our time, well, we've been trying to quickly translate these tablets. And a number of them contained what we believe to be prophecies. Some of them are, a number of them, I should say, are things that they seemed like histories at first, until we realized that the tablets they were inscribed upon predate those events happening. So we know that at least 4 of these 12 stone tablets have correctly predicted events. There's one in particular that we've been investigating. And he takes the scroll from his satchel and unscrolls it and kind of looks it over. While this is happening, the rest of you, you're at the Firefrost Tavern. Are you inside the tavern chilling, having a drink, and like waiting to hear something? Or are you keeping eyes on this entrance?
Yeah, I don't think we're chilling. I think we're keeping
Yeah.
eyes.
I think it's whatever wall is closest to that alley.
Absolutely. There's a definitely, since it's more temperate now in this region, there's a little like outside patio that it's enclosed and has a roof over it, but there are these like large windows along the sides. For those of us sitting here, I would akin it to like Sweetwater, that vibe. For those of you at home, it's a large, sizable patio with massive like bay windows around the sides that can be lifted up into awnings that are just kind of like open to the air and looking out to the street. And you've got pretty decent view. Go ahead and make a perception check.
21.
There's a natural 1.
Oh, fun!
Let me find my full
What happened?
chart.
What happened now?
My chart of bad.
It's like a limited amount of people around you now.
5. Excellent. Give me just a second to pull this up.
So it's me, Silas, and Pippin who are out here, right?
Yes. So, Silas, we'll get to you first. Keeping eyes, kind of sitting across from Alma, with like you, her, and Pippin are at a table that typically would seat 4, and there's just one empty chair with you. You've got direct eye line on this alleyway, and you see a figure enter who looks very familiar, is fully differently dressed than when you saw them just hours ago in Silverlight Park, but you recognize the woman, the half-elf woman, Kendry, as she enters the alleyway, very nonchalantly, not even like a suspicious like look around. The only reason it catches your eye is because you recognize this person. She enters the alleyway. Meanwhile, Alma. You are pulled from the space almost immediately. You actually find yourself now standing. Nearby, there's this loud, thunderous crack, but it's not quite thunder. It sounds more like two large boulders being dragged across one another, and it's shaking the ground itself. Looking around you, the first things that immediately catch your attention are two mountains, one more distant than the other, one that you're maybe a couple miles from the foot of. You see the tops of these mountains, where you expect them to come to a point, have actually split and caved in on themselves. And you see this orange glow. The sky is tinted a dark gray as ash spews up from the mountaintops. And you sort of jolt as someone grabs your shoulder, and you find yourself turning to face a younger man who is wearing very outdated clothing. It looks like old clothing that royalty would be wearing in like paintings of ancient histories. And you see he's got a crown kind of crooked on his head. He's also covered in soot and ash.
Is he human?
Yes, human man. Wearing this like red cape that is tattered, and pieces of it have either been torn free or been caught on things and teared and ripped. It looks like it's been like, it looks akin to a flag that's been blowing in the wind for years without being taken down. He grabs you and turns you. Come, now's our only chance to flee. And he turns and like climbs up onto this horse that looks very, the horse itself, you can like see its ribs. You're almost surprised that it can support him, and he holds out a hand to help you up.
Take it.
Okay. You take his hand. As he pulls, there's another loud crack, and you turn and look, and you see as a jet of this molten orange rock shoots forth from the mountain, and the horse itself rears back. You now notice now that there are hundreds of people gathered around you. You had your back turned to them. And turning back, you look at this mountain and are pulled against your will up onto the horse. And then suddenly, almost as if you're falling backwards, you jolt and find yourself back in your chair.
And I'm kicking them, telling them that that person has just walked down the alleyway.
What?
The one that was speaking earlier?
Is she still...
She's disappeared from view at this point.
Yeah.
You all right? You kind of spaced out there for a second.
It's not relevant right now, but it might be relevant later.
All right.
So that's the only movement?
Is this like a hag is ruining my sleep levels of things we should be talking about?
No, this is normal Alma things, I think. You know? Just like bad and weird, but maybe useful.
Okay.
There was a volcano. It's not relevant right now. Do you understand?
My curiosity, I'm losing it every
Great,
time you
yeah.
mention anything like a volcano.
No, that's fair.
No, it is fair, isn't it?
I get it.
You presenting ideas and not talking about them any further?
Right, what I'm saying though is that Cholula and Howie are currently in there, and the volcano is happening in my mind. So it's not helpful to discuss it right now.
Pippin, you did see that though, right? She was in plain clothes, and not when they were speaking on the square.
I take your word for it.
Okay, fine. We'll just wait it out then. We'll just wait it out.
What
We'll discuss
is-
the volcano later, I guess.
Could have been the Severance, maybe?
What is a volcano?
It's a mountain.
As you begin describing the intricacies of geology to Pippin, we cut
not
back.
hot rocks, they're melted.
But it's rocks in liquid form.
They're underground for a reason, I think.
But sometimes they leave the underground.
Of course they do, yeah. It's like the pimple of the earth.
To kiss the earth.
To kiss it and make new earth, I guess.
I guess, yeah.
Pippin, are you following by chance? Sometimes I get lost.
Right. We cut back
But
to
in my mind.
to Cholula and Howie, seated with Horace. There's a brief, meticulous knock at the door before it swings open. And entering Cholula, you see a familiar face of Kendry. She has dark red hair that is down about the shoulders. There's a small section of her right ear that's missing, half-elven woman. And she has full lips and kind of grayish-green eyes, wearing simple, common clothes. Similar to basically everybody that you've seen in here. They all are like uniquely dressed, but in such a way that you would not pick them out of a crowd over anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Urban camouflage.
Exactly, yeah.
It sounds cooler when you say it that way.
Urban camouflage. We've moved away from the lava thing.
So you wear the molten rocks.
No.
To blend
we've
in.
moved away. It's different.
We don't advise
I
doing
was
that.
trying to describe what she was wearing when she went in. We're done with that.
Horace looks up. Kendry, please join us. She comes over and sits down next to him. I hope you don't mind. I explained the situation to my associate. She knows who you are.
I'm Howie.
Howie, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Are you with the Mistwalkers?
Kind of
Yes.
traveling along.
Excellent, excellent. This is what we've translated from the stone tablet that we've been tasked with looking into. Rivers reversed flow and evaporated into mist. The dried beds became cracks that sundered mountains. The sky tore open and vile ink rained across the land. Hierarchies fell as the wounds of Kavora oozed molten blood. Kings became peasants and castle and cottage were swallowed alike. Balance shall again be restored to Kavora. Those adrift, born of rime and mist, shall wield the weapons lost to time. Should nations clash, the black rain will fall again. Kavora shall witness what was promised of the severance, and in its ashes be rent asunder. Previously, we were looking into these potential weapons lost to time. My initial instinct was the Warforged that fought in Windfell during the Grimdalian invasion. Another time where nations clashed. And we thought perhaps those had something to do with one another, but there are certain things that didn't line up. I theorize now, however, since that investigation led nowhere, there were too many things that didn't line up. Those adrift, born of rime and mist, shall wield the weapons lost to time. You say you were gone for what felt for you like days.
Mm-hmm.
For us, it was decades. I would say that fits.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if these are weapons you perhaps already have in your employ, or if they are things that you will come to find. But it's my belief that perhaps the Mistwalkers, which our attention was brought to you, we were already headed for Chilrun, to investigate some other leads that we had had when the Warforged well ran dry. And we heard about your escapades in the city, freeing the people from their rule by a theocratic dictatorship, and that you disappeared shortly after. We heard about the Children of the Mist, and they spoke, and not just the Children of the Mist, but the people of Children spoke of the events of that day, the fall of the Pontifex, and the incursion of Giantset was quelled by this group of heroes. They included a lot of specific things, such as mist and the fact that Children itself was frozen over, basically, at the time, until the Heart of Pale Roar was removed from its place and put into a new, healthier position. Perhaps that refers to the rhyme. It is our fear that should nations clash, as we find ourselves at the edge of war between Windfell and Misternor, it could spell doom, perhaps, for all of Kavora, if those adrift do not stop the nations from clashing.
So you don't have any ideas about what these weapons are supposed to be?
We're not certain. And again, this is a rough translation, but it's the best that we've got to work with.
If we have to go to Fort Hornwood, is there a way that we can keep Kimberly from ruin, essentially, by this cult? Like, are you able to handle this?
I think that the best bet for dissuading the majority of the Children of the Mist would be for the Mistwalkers themselves to make a very public appearance and announcement denouncing the ideals of the cult.
Right.
Obviously, if you saw fit, you have access as a group to the council chambers and as well to Kimberly and those near him. You could look into his assistant. We also have a couple of members on the council who are also members of Children of the Mist. Are Harpers as well.
Okay.
Harpers. Grolan Strick is a Goliath, the newly elected representative of the Stonemasons Guild, is a Harper. As well as Lady Helena Stormwhistle. She's a human noblewoman and representative of the nobility of Children.
Helena, what's the last name?
Stormwhistle.
Stormwhistle.
Yes. They could perhaps aid you. I don't know exactly when in the coming days. That Benwyn Midsong is planning to plant the evidence, and I don't know exactly who the members among the City Guard are. I would imagine they have to have at least one captain, and perhaps that captain's entire squadron, if not more, to keep things hush-hush. But if you could perhaps expose this plot against Kimberly and Vagan, I would see the public eye having no way to refute the fact that this organization is a cult with dangerous intent.
Right.
So, everything they're saying about Kimberly and Vagan, that's none of it's true, or?
Correct.
What about the ones that
Kimberly
have
is
been
Kimberly is a member of the Church of the Temple of the Fairfather.
Yeah.
He's in charge of the organization here in Chillrun and took over as he was elected by the people after the fall of the Pontifex and the implementation of the council. He represents the religious aspect of things in the city.
Tell me more about the church. I know they're trying to get them more power to the temple, right?
No, that's kind of what they're being framed for.
That's what they're being framed for, yes. Because initially, the church, the Temple of the Fairfather, was wholly in charge of Chillrun. And that's when the city walls were erected, the Heart of Pale Roar was being defiled, and the warmth only spread within the city. The Pontifex had made some sort of deal with a devil or a demon, a fiend of some kind, and was slowly going mad and implementing new laws every day under the guise of the Fairfather, God of justice and light, stating that it was just justice being doled out and being met. But people were literally freezing outside of the walls because they weren't allowing them inside.
The others that had already been removed, were they framed as well, or were they actually corrupt?
I know for certain that Vendry Brisk was framed. No, Vendry Brisk was embezzling money from the Stonemasons Guild. He was guilty. Galsine Doralind, however, former representative of the Merchants Guild, those forged documents that they found that were in her private study were not of her own hand.
Okay.
What was the second person's name?
Galsine Doralind. Ice Genasi.
So in Fort Hornwood, they're planning a preemptive attack on Mistinor?
It seems that way, yes. Our intelligence, not much intelligence gets out of Fort Hornwood. It's not too hard to get people in, but security is tight. We have some representatives, some hoppers that are willing to meet you along the way and fill you in on the situation and perhaps even help you infiltrate. But the idea is someone needs to go in and take out the man in charge before he can enact his plan.
What can you tell me about who's in charge?
What can I tell you?
About how long have we been here?
It's been about maybe 15 minutes, 20
Okay.
minutes.
That's since we left the park.
Oh, since you left the park?
Yeah.
Closer to an hour.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and recast Alter Self so that I don't start looking like Cholula in case somebody pops in.
Excellent, excellent.
Just a billion-page document.
Yeah. The man in charge of Fort Hornwood is General Dorian Brimlock. We don't know much about him, except that he was a decorated war hero during the Grimdalian invasion, and Fort Hornwood is one of the few bastions that still stands after that attack, or rather continued to stand almost unchanged from the Grimdalian invasion. I'm sure you've seen the wreckage and ruin of other places that have that were destroyed during those attacks. But Fort Hornwood stood strong and continues to do so and acts as sort of a militaristic gateway to Windfell.
And you think this Brimlock needs to be, like, taken out? Not someone that can be reasoned with?
That is our understanding.
Right, okay. Okay, so we need to get with Genevieve, I suppose, and make a public appearance
Yeah.
and let everyone know that we don't stand with the cult, that we know that they plan to frame more members of the council, denounce them, whatever,
Yeah.
and
Probably do it away from the cult, right? Like somewhere else where people are gathered.
I mean, probably from the, there's like this balcony area from when the Pontifex used to.
You
do
could make
speeches
an announcement on the steps of the council building. It's right near Silverlight Park, well travelled.
So we could do that and see how they lash out, I guess.
Yeah.
Just reiterate to people that part of
Do you think that'll drive up a stir with the cult? Will that make civil unrest?
possibly, but at least it will single them out.
Okay.
I think perhaps it would be less unrest than if their current plans come to fruition.
Yeah. So we do that. Remind everyone that part of heroism is going to being where you need it most, and we can't just stay here and rule children. That's not what we do. Is there a way for us to leave here without calling more attention?
Kendry speaks up for the first time. Hi, I can lead you out. We'll cover your tracks here and do what we do best with the children in this particular compound. Business as usual until you make your announcement, and we can start, in the meantime, start placing the seeds of dissent and such subtly among those of our chapters, and make sure that things don't get too out of hand.
Well, all right. Unless there's anything else y'all need.
Horace kind of like looks over his scroll again before rolling it up and placing it back in his satchel. I think that should do it. Thank
Do
you
you
for
mind
being...
if I copy what that prophecy says real quick?
Of course, yes.
I'll need to tell the others and...
Right.
Great.
He reads it aloud again.
Yeah. If you can just like send it to me or something so that I have all the right words.
Yeah.
I tried as fast as I could.
Yeah, so you just
I was like, I'm gonna wait till the important
like,
part. Okay, write that down.
Okay.
Noun, verb, noun, verb, noun, verb.
Yeah.
Blades, weapons, bad.
All I'm saying is, if your house is so big you have to cover all the furniture in a room with a blanket, why have the room or the furniture, right? It's seasonal. What does that even mean?
Right.
I mean, we had an estate, but we used every room, to my knowledge.
Right, yeah, I think, really the problem is societal, right? Is like, it went from, back in the day, a whole family would share a massive estate like
Right,
that, and so
right.
it made sense to have all of that. Now, people with wealth are just buying these
Just
big, huge
rooms.
houses not to live in them.
Yeah, there's
not
like
to live in them. That's a
Two
societal,
fireplaces in one
systemic
space, and then the chairs facing the fireplace. Like, what does that even
Right.
mean? And the books are not touched. They rarely are. It's not
No,
a collection
they're not
is
even
purchased
cut
without
yet.
Curating,
Is-
right? Yeah.
Right. Some people are buying fake books.
Yes,
Because
I've
they
seen
know
that.
nobody's
just like
gonna
a whole
pick them
row
up.
of books.
Right? Yeah, disgusting.
It's probably where they keep the blankets behind these fake
Behind the
books,
giant
so
books.
they can cover
No, that
all
would
the
be too
furniture.
useful.
It would
You
be,
know what I
yeah, it
mean?
would- yeah.
No, nobody who has these
Yeah, there's
giant
got to be a
homes.
whole other closet of just
There's
furniture blankets.
just furniture blankets. I bet they don't even use nice blankets to sleep with,
Oh, they have.
Like, they're
I
not
mean, yeah,
soft.
They do. I mean,
No, but they're everything is about how it looks, right?
yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Disgusting.
Oh shit, that's them.
I was gonna say as we're like heading out, I'm gonna say down with tyranny.
And justice for all.
Cool.
Cool.
And
Checking.
Kendry and, or rather, yeah, Kendry, not Horace.
Did
Horace
he read
stays
something
behind.
off of his hand before he was?
Like we all do.
Yeah.
For all.
And just ice for all. Justice.
Just ice.
For the party. Just bring ice.
We'll cover everything else.
Kendry leads you out through a separate exit, which leads you into a different alleyway, which is just like another block from the Firefrost Tavern. But you guys can easily make your way back around the streets to Firefrost, where you see Pippin waving from the patio. Well, over here.
We should we should
We, the Mistwalkers, are right here.
we should meet back at the keep.
I could keep sure.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
How far is the keep from the mark? I know we did it, but it's been
From the Firefrost Tavern, it's maybe like a 20-minute walk. It's not crazy.
okay. I'll
Through,
just
through
put
Old Town and New Town.
Are you guys trying to be inconspicuous?
Yes.
Okay,
I'm
go
gonna
ahead.
try
And,
to like Assassin's Creed, like blend with people as I go through the city and not.
yeah.
I can't use Mystic.
Go ahead and make some stealth checks. Cholula, you have advantage because you are altered.
Oh, nice.
No.
Yes.
Oh no.
I'm good, right?
There's so many spider webs under there. I think
Oh.
that dice lives there now.
Yeah, we gotta remember to bring the vacuum.
There's a
We
Because
have
this tavern's
one.
already clean. Oh, we got a mean boy.
Mean.
She a shark.
A nice
She-
rude
and
cume.
She sucks.
Oh, do I need to disadvantage?
Yeah, from your armor.
18.
Nice.
Okay.
31.
Nice.
It was an initiative.
10. Excellent.
You rolled really low on initiative. What'd you get?
Nothing.
Yeah, nobody would recognize Howie.
Right.
They
Or
don't know
Pippin.
him like we do.
Excellent. Well, thanks to Cholula, that makes the DC against you guys 19.
Yay!
Nice. Thanks, Cholula.
I love when there's a
Whoa.
substitute teacher who just curves all the tests
Yeah.
to the smartest kid.
It was like cocked between the tablecloth and this little side table.
Nice
And
cock.
when I looked, it was just like a natural 20 staring me in the face. Excellent.
Excellent. I hope.
You make your way without issue back to the Mistvale Keep. And you can step through the gates easily. The servants and guards, they're servants. The guards and workers recognize you and let you in.
Hi.
Is there any blood on either of their clothing or hands?
Make an insight check. Actually, this would be investigation.
I want that
to
too.
specifically look for blood. Perception.
Perception?
Yeah.
11.
16.
16. No, neither of them appear to have any bloody holes in their uniforms or anything of that
Good,
nature.
good.
Not on the front, at least.
Okay.
All right.
So,
Stab someone in the back and then take their clothes.
Yeah.
at first it was weird and kind of scary, but
Sorry, yeah, I really beefed it back there.
that's all right. So, Horace and Kendry that we met in the Warforged sort of battlefield, they're hoppers, and they're spying on the whole cult business, right? Okay? So, they said that we're needed in Fort Hornwood, and there's these prophecies that they found in Vassacre, another branch of the hoppers, and I'll show them, like, what I wrote down. So, they think that this is us, and that we're supposed to basically take out Brimlock.
That's in Cast and Crew in the Discord, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
The words of prophecy.
In Hornwood, to make sure that the nations don't clash like he thinks they're gonna. But before we go anywhere, we need to sort of make a show and walk down the center of town, go to the park, and basically denounce the cult. They are planning to frame Kimberly and Bacon by planting forged documents. They've got members of the guard on their whole thing, so we have to sort of reveal that before they have a chance to make it happen. And they also, Vendry was guilty, but Galacine was not, and so we need to also state that to see if maybe they could be reinstated if they want to, or at least, vindicated of the crimes.
Would I know?
Am I forgetting anything?
Would I know if that a Harper would just spill all of the things that they've worked on to somebody?
Make a history check.
Yeah, how much do y'all
Famously good.
trust
Historically
these
good at
Harpers?
these rolls.
We are Harpers.
Y'all are Harpers.
Yes.
Okay.
So we trust them,
All
I'd
right.
say.
It's 2 Fs, which everything else on here is numbers, but there's letters on this one.
Nice.
Maybe
wonder
it
what
means
that
fuck.
means.
Fuck.
Double
But it's still a 1.
On a natural 20, typically, absolutely not. But this does seem to be a sort of a special situation. You are people of renown, and this does seem to be a matter that directly involves you. And based off of what Cholula says, I presume you also explained that they stated that the current leader of the Harpers was the one who was convinced that you guys were important
Yeah.
in this prophecy. So I would say it
So I know
feels
that Mert is a part of this? Or was he just a branch leader?
Mert was in charge. You don't know if he's still in charge.
Okay.
It's been a decade.
Not a healthy guy.
Not a healthy guy.
Every depiction of him. D&D, come on.
Yeah.
Like,
Never without a cigar.
never without a cigar.
Drinking.
Yeah. Those aren't acne scars. That's just the
Yeah,
alcohol.
like rings
gross.
swollen in,
Prune nose.
Like was he like a wolf, but in the Disney Robin Hood, the sheriff?
Yeah.
Was he a wolf? That's what I imagine Mert. Like, that's Mert to me.
Was he a wolf or a bear? He was a wolf.
He's like a dog man.
I thought it was like a hyena.
No.
What is that?
The sheriff of Nottingham in
Who was a
Disney's
lion?
Robin Hood?
Didn't he have like a...
No, that's-
No, that's
Oh.
the
It's a
king.
big gray
That's
guy.
the king.
That's King John.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's what I imagine
We'll
Mert.
find
Even
out.
the clothing, I think, even
We'll find
matches
out.
some
Don't
of
worry.
the depictions.
Yeah.
So, did anyone find any weapons in the mist, or?
Not in the mist. Silas was looking for a weapon prior to the first time. The second time that he passed through the mists,
Yes.
as a younger adult man.
But this is saying that weapon was. That's kind of been misread, right?
I mean, the words black rain are used in this.
Right.
Silas, make an intelligence saving throw.
Uh-oh.
Intelligence saving throw. Historically good at these.
It was a plus 20.
11.
No.
11?
11.
That is less.
11 is a pretty low DC.
Thank goodness. It was 10.5.
It comes rushing back to you. This was maybe not accounting for like your perception of time, but time that has passed in Kavora. This was maybe like 25 years ago now. When you were working for the Harpers, your last job before you misted yourself. What?
At a party, too.
At a party, yeah.
Missed up.
Your last job was searching for
a weapon.
a weapon of prophecy. At the time, there were very few, the translation was very rough of that prophecy. This feels like a much more complete picture of what you initially were already looking for. And also kind of gleaning back to that previous Nat 20 a moment ago, that was a mission for the Harpers.
What room are we in? What room did we decide
The
to land
secret
in?
one. right?
The secret one, yeah.
Secret room.
I'm gonna like just kind of walk up to like the shelf and kind of like touch a
just
globe.
so I know, so there's
The fireman pole one.
okay, so you're standing at the mouth of a tunnel. There's not really like a secret room so much as there's Silas's office and there's a secret pole that leads to an evacuation tunnel.
The office.
The office.
If you guys would like to also have a separate secret room
Yeah,
that just
let's
people
have a
don't know
secret
about.
room.
We'll have to
Yeah.
contract it.
Let's have
We
the-
just
we
got
can-
back.
it
What are
could
we
You
doing?
have to kill all the contractors
yeah, but we're
so
about
no
to
one
go
knows
do some
about.
more stuff, so it's not like
I'm giving you the opportunity to retcon and say it's been
We
there.
haven't gone over every single room. in our
We'll say
keep.
that
We can have
wait.
a
the
secret one.
space to get to Silas's office.
Is
Yes.
it one of those like late '60s cartoon rooms where we have a big table and there's like all
There's a
the stuff we're
conversation
working
pit.
on? it's
Yeah,
like
I
the
think
evil guy
maybe
layers
the
from the
office
cartoon.
has a secret. Like you can go behind the bookshelf and there's like
Yeah.
a bar with fucking
The ni-
under lid.
Yeah, I can press a button on the table and the mist mobile kind of spirals into view.
Hell yeah!
Fucking-
Silas is Batman.
Knights of the Round conversation pit. I love it.
It's got one of those oddly
Pillows
shaped fireplaces.
everywhere.
Yeah, in the middle of everything.
Yeah,
Like you gotta.
I climb out of the conversation pit and like go over to a shelf. I'm like,
Yeah, it's
There's-
two-tiered.
there's alcohol in here somewhere. I'm like lifting up a globe. No.
You lift up a globe, and the door to the room opens. And you're like, oh,
Oh
shit.
fuck it.
Nothing.
Up a candle. Where's the fucking bar in this place? It's been 10 years.
I don't know if maybe now it's relevant. It wasn't 20 minutes ago, but right now, it may have just become relevant. I, just moments ago, while we were waiting for you guys, was transported in my mind to what seemed like an end of days kind of scenario. There were two mountains that were exploding into lava. We call them volcanoes. There were two volcanoes, both were erupting at the same time. There were hundreds of people trying to escape, and what looked like maybe a king doing a bad job of staying alive.
A small king.
Did I say small?
You just did this.
Sorry, I was
king,
just
you know.
gesturing
Oh, okay.
like in a direction.
A king.
A king, you know.
One of those. Howie, make a history check.
But I don't know
Alright.
With
where
advantage,
or
I'd say.
when I was. I was definitely a long time ago.
Oh,
Was
now,
it these
now you're
ones?
talking about the mined volcanoes?
I said they might just have become relevant based on the prophecy that we just got, but they weren't relevant.
I'm going to come back with
13. Again, another low DC because this, for Howie, just happened.
A 3 with
For us,
advantage.
it's been a second. Howie, this all sounds just like the that old history story that you heard growing up in Gold Run, of when the first men left. Fuck, I can never remember the goddamn name of this continent that they called it.
Grimdall.
It's like the land of elders or some shit.
Oh, you. I wrote this shit. Where?
I wrote this shit
Yeah,
a really
man.
long time ago.
Your
This
world,
is
man.
Vassacre lore.
Whoa.
This is like God, like I made something that looked like a duck but had like 4 legs and like a
Platypus.
stinger on one of them. That's it. I gotta get rid of those. Remind me to get rid of those.
No, they're good.
That was the first draft. Like,
Yeah, I was like still messing around with bills and eggs at the time. I didn't know what they're.
Platypuses don't lay eggs.
yeah, they do.
They do.
They
I thought
also
they didn't.
secrete
But they make milk.
through their skin.
Aren't they
don't
also
have
venomous?
nipples.
Yeah, they have
And
like
they're-
a back barb.
yeah, on their ankle.
Yeah,
It would be
Of all
Australia.
places to put like
Yeah.
a barb.
you gotta
or
donkey
ankle.
kick somebody
Yeah.
to like
Are there
love it.
stat blocks for?
platypus.
Nature's deadliest.
I bet somebody's
stab
made
duck.
them.
You have to combine
Duck.
like
Poison
a
spray.
Tasmanian devil with a duck.
Duck.
Danger duck. Danger duck.
The land of elders.
Land of elders.
Yeah,
y'all.
take that
you had
again.
it.
So there's
No.
a story, Land of Elders, Gold Run Vasquez.
And who's that platypus? Lore doc?
Okay.
Things blew up. The first people came over.
The first men came over
Yeah.
to Vassacre on the land bridge from the land of elders because the land of elders was swallowed by the sea.
Yeah.
And the description that was given sounds a lot like the first paragraph of this prophecy.
Yeah.
The only thing left out from this prophecy is the black rain that fell from the sky.
Those volcanoes, were they these mountains?
The nearby?
Yes. Like, were you here?
Like,
And children looking at volcanoes
Doesn't
exploding?
seem like it, no.
these aren't.
This is like a mountain range. This was like there are two
They're
solid, separate mountains,
two
not
Big
like
ol'
systems.
honkin'
distinct
Bounce.
Big,
mountains.
big steaming bouncers. Yeah.
They were oozing,
It's erupting bouncing.
blasting.
Blast it off.
I'm gonna come back to the conversation bit with like a thing of brandy,
Mountains blasting
like
their tops off. you
one
know?
glass and one
Rivers.
like candle holder that seems like it could hold
Is that
liquid.
broken?
Rivers
thought our
reverse
secret
flow
room had a whole
and
bar
mountains
in it.
I don't know what it
bounced
is.
and bounced.
We hid the bar too well. Like stepping on the cushions to get back down.
So these guys
It's
are
under the
convinced.
dance floor. I'm gonna go to the dance floor and like stomp right there, and then
That's-
the bar comes
hey.
up fully stocked.
That's not my. Whoever made that decision, poor decision making. That's where people stomp. Why would you put the rising bar in a place where people characteristically stomp? Why is there a dance room area?
We have a ballroom also.
Right.
I think I found where we keep the stock, and Pippin like he's in like the lower step of the two steps down into the conversation pit, kind of like pushes in on a brick that inserts and then pops out and pulls it out, and there's just like lines of like the well alcohols.
Okay. Did we just tell the contractor make things secret, or did we discuss what we wanted in these
I don't
walls?
think we had time. I think we just said secret.
Now I'm going to be afraid of everything that moves in this room. Can't go to the dance floor.
All right, so Fort
You
Hornwood,
want some Hill Slip Deluxe?
Yes.
but
HD.
before we go, we have to deal with the children of the mist.
Right.
That probably
Yes,
takes
and-
precedence.
Horace and Kendra were really just suggesting that we sort of just make an announcement that we denounce them, and these are their plans. We know about them, and they're untrue, and that Galcine was also framed, and we want nothing to do with them.
We could also state that in this state of fragility after we liberated the city, that it's completely understandable for some to still be indoctrinated, and that our appearance would be something to lean on. We're not vilifying these people publicly. We are mentioning to the public that they need to be
Well,
could we-
rehabilitated to some extent.
the way
yes?
that Horace made it sound was that there are only a handful of people that know that the framing is happening, and that everyone else within the cult
Right.
is to also believe that the council is corrupt.
So why don't we just request, hey, if you're in charge, we request that you stand down
I can
and
name
dissolve
names.
this. You have names.
I do have some names, yes.
What are they?
I mean, I know that Sybil and let me go back.
This shouldn't be a witch hunt.
Did you
Forgive the term.
What
but
if it was a
like-
witch hunt?
But it,
What if you have, like, they respect you? They'll come if you call them, right?
we're not going to bait them into
I think-
exposing them. I feel like that would be if you corner something that is fragile and is potentially violent and trying to overthrow a place, wouldn't shaming them publicly be just as dangerous?
I
as,
think
what if
that
we were just-
maybe-
Good point.
Well,
good
but what if we were just shaming the ones who were trying to, work things behind the scenes? Because it
we-
sounds like they're
Well, is that
lying.
even-
yeah, if we
so-
could pinpoint those.
Exposing what they're doing, and also point out that they're, the people that are in charge of this cult are taking advantage of the followers.
I just want to lean on the side of rehabilitation for those who are
yeah. No,
in
100%.
need of deities.
But is there a way to, like, cut the head off first?
I
Do we
think
pretend to be with them and
we could just make it very clear, very publicly, so that our words can't be twisted in the shadows again, that we do not support this organization. We would like the leaders to stand down and dissolve it. should they continue to frame public figures for their own cause, then the government of children will handle that as they see fit, but we have to leave.
But we'll need proof that they are framing them first.
You had mentioned that they're forging documents. Could we get a hold of those before they use them? If the Hoppers are involved, they know where the documents are and when they're going to be planted. Likely.
I mean, it sounded like Kimberly's assistant is one of the ones planting documents, as well as city guard members, but we don't know which ones.
We could plant false documents, right? Switch out the ones that they're planning on planting, further exposing their plan, right?
I think it would be best to expose their plan before they try to enact it.
But allowing them to enact it in a sense, but
they've already done it once before.
right. But we switch out those documents and it says, something that along the lines of, "We're the children of the mist and we fucked up," instead of forged documents. It kind of exposes, because we can go out in public and say we know they're forging documents, but then naysayers can say that we've been
No, we
flipped and things
don't.
of that nature.
Yeah,
But
or
if-
even
if
if
we
we
let them-
speak out against, they'll say they've been twisted
Right.
against us.
But if we speak out and speak honestly as we've planned, and we let their plan go through with false documents,
Well, if we
then
can get
the public
false.
could see.
if we can get Genevieve down here,
What if we document
because she
the
knows
document?
Kimberly and also Megan, and also we can tell her that Kimberly's assistant is one of the children of Mist that's going to be planting these forged documents, so they can just have someone intercept his assistant.
Well, there's also
If we could catch that assistant with the documents on him before the plant is made, he'd be caught red-handed.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I think any of these plans.
But that would still be us taking something from him and then going out in public and saying, "Believe that we took this from him." Like, how much proof can you really have?
if
by allowing
the-
them to plant the documents
if
that
the
we've
Harpers who are currently
But then, who knows if they're planted?
if the Harpers that you've been in contact with who are infiltrating the Children of the Mist know that a framing has occurred before, then they already have evidence.
They should.
So we can start there and let Children handle it from here.
Right.
I think getting more involved again is kind of what got us here in the first place. with
Oh,
this
I think I see what
organization.
you're saying, Silas. You're talking about doing a classic old switch 'em up.
Yeah. Let
Like
them
we
plant
we,
the
we
things.
plant a document that says the opposite of what they think it's going to say. They think that they're saying, "Oh, this is a document of conversation between these two, planning to overthrow society, the council, and put a religious figurehead in place." But what it actually says is the opposite of that. That's not a terrible idea. It might be harder to pull off than just, catching the guy with documents, but it might be more effective.
If we go out publicly and say that they're forging documents, and that, depending on when we go out publicly and say this, we could say there are documents right now that they were planning on planting that we have supplanted. That's evidence, and we're speaking publicly truthfully.
But figuring out how to do that and making it work without getting caught, because
There
just
are,
getting through the park was a situation.
there are already Harpers embedded, right?
I mean, there are two.
That we know of, but yes, two.
There are two there, and there are two on the council.
I don't know, it was just an idea from a guy drinking from a candle holder. And I took the candle out.
2 of the 7.
What happens if we let Kimberly know that his assistant is...
That could go a couple of ways. He could have someone investigate, but the chance that that person he goes to investigate is potentially one of these city guard who's also on the payroll could nullify,
Or what if we call them both here right now? You said that his assistant currently has those documents on their person.
Do they?
I would wager.
I mean, you said,
Sorry.
Bless.
God's bless you.
Was that the volcano in your mind?
It's the grass.
This is a conversation pit after all.
You said
And
that.
we're just rotating around to each one of us in the center.
You said that. Oh, I get it. Sometime in the next 10 days is when they're going to be planted. So this person may not have them on him right now, but at some point over the next week.
Could we put the hoppers in charge of switching those documents?
Yeah.
Probably.
Disappearing ink kind of a thing, you know?
Sure.
What if
Where
we
they're
just
holding
Y'all
what they think is
still
right and then
need
it
to do
changes?
anything publicly, or do you want to still lay low? Or?
I think if we do something publicly that matches our actions in private, that could kind of come to a head together. Like, how do you know? Because these documents were sent by the secretary and we know what's written on them because we planted them. And here's what they were trying to send, right?
Did we run into them the first time that we came to Chill Run? Kimberly and Horace? Has Alma
Kendry?
met them? Or not Kendry. Yeah, Kendry.
Yes, Alma did meet them because it was on.
When we were passing to Chill Run the first time?
Right?
Oh,
Through the
were
mountain
you there?
pass?
Yeah, was Alma there for that?
If it happened on Windfell, I was there.
It was because it was after you met with Genevieve at Suntukor.
The questions
and
only come
Mayo.
up if it happened
Right.
on Mistinor.
So, we could. You've met Horace. If you could send a message, we could find out if he can intercept or switch those documents.
Sure. I'm just gonna like pull my legs up on the couch. Okay, so just I guess if I'm going in the wrong direction, just like poke me real hard. Because sometimes when we're planning, I get lost. And I will cast Sending.
All right. I don't know why, but I just got this mental image of like, for some reason, the way that Alma casts Sending, she like pulls her legs in and is just kind of like chilling on the couch, and then opens her mouth and like light shoots out of her eyes and mouth.
I just like, I prop
Round it up well.
my chin up on my elbows and kick my legs, but also the light happens.
I'm gonna like crawl out of the conversation pit and
She
start like
lost her bending.
pulling on like candelabras and like sconces. Like, okay.
Twisting everything in the room.
Touching on
Excellent.
books that stand out too much.
You send a message to Horace?
Yes. Horace, it's Alma. We know Kimberly is next. Do you think you could switch the documents with some of our own? Oh, that feels good. Switch them up. One word.
I'm going to count that as one word, yeah.
Bob, add a baby, it's a boy.
Yeah, what parameters do I have to meet at all times to get my
If there's a
full
hyphen,
sentence?
if there's a hyphen, it's one word.
Nice.
Do you accept the call? No. Who was that? Oh, Bob had a baby. It's a boy.
I think there's a spider
Great
on the
commercial.
ceiling.
Excellent commercial.
That bad.
That could be doable. More Kendry's specialty than mine.
Well, either of you.
Certainly, it'll be tough, but plausible. Got about 6 words left.
I have 6 words left.
And join our Patreon if you want to see Cameron play through that
We'll be in touch.
by himself.
Sounds good. And it fades.
He said it's possible, maybe a little tricky, but something that could happen.
Do we? I guess they know what the document says, right? They've already, or will say. Maybe.
It would be implicating Kimberly in trying to bring power back to the church.
But it sounds like they've been planning it. somewhat.
Yeah.
So
We might not know
So-
the exact words, but we know what its goals are.
So is our goal to write something directly opposite or something
Something that says like
Amazing.
these documents were planted here by your secretary.
okay, yeah.
Yeah. Think
Yeah.
something
Any of
that's
us good at
exposure.
forgery?
What if we could get them all to like sign something, and you put that into place?
The conspirators?
Yeah.
What's
Maybe you give them like a mislead them a bit. Tell them like the Mistwalkers are going to take
doing
up the
that.
mantle of Chill Run, and we will lead the city to prosperous.
I think
and we need the signatures of those who will support us,
I think directly betraying them in that way.
like a declaration of.
I think that's a
Conquer.
really, really dangerous idea to say we are going to do this and then publicly denounce them. Bad call.
Right. Yeah.
Bad call.
I forgot about the public part.
We could say the Mistwalkers are back, hello, and we're putting together a
Yes,
softball league.
sign up.
Where only the Mist can sign up.
We're getting T-shirts. So
You guys have played softball, right?
Give us your signature and the size tunic you wear.
Exactly. And your favorite number. I guess to wear on the tunic.
What if some people have the same favorite number?
You can go for like 0.5 or something.
Maybe we can make a small item proclaiming that this is a planted document from the Children of the Mist, headed up by Sybil, and there are other documents planted by a city guard that he can slip into the forged document, so that it's not
Don't we want to
replacing, but
incriminate
it's
someone
within.
else then,
hey,
or something?
you're good at tinkering in technology, right?
Yeah.
If we can make the document exchange, the document that we make,
Okay.
and
go on.
maybe some sort of device that could capture either what they say or what they look like, get their voices and their faces, so that when we do go public, we have that.
Is that possible?
Or even get recordings of them talking about doing this.
Give me a
When
second.
were these documents meant to be exchanged? Did we get a timeline on that?
You said within the
Within
10
the
days?
next 10 days, but I don't have an exact timeline. Otherwise, I mean, I have a single-use sort of item where I could do some spying, but if it's not happening within the time that I use it,
Right.
then it's
It's been a waste.
Do any of you maybe have some sort of way that we could like write something on the document that when it like looks one way for either like a limited amount of time and then switches, or maybe it's like only some people can see what it really says or something?
maybe we can. I don't know if there's a shop that might have that. There's like an ink that you can write with that if you heat it, it shows up, but otherwise it disappears.
Oh, right. It's something to do with like lemon juice, right?
I'm not sure.
I saw a plage with a plage. I saw a play with
The weirdest way of saying plague.
Something happened to Pippin recently. He cannot make it through a sentence.
Well, he's so used to his jowl being so, like, lycanthropy.
Spells.
I saw a play with
Yeah,
Nicholas
there's-
Crate that was
Great.
he used something similar to steal a
Yeah, what was
historical
that-
document
what was that
from Gold
called?
Run. I think it was called Kingdom Treasure.
All right.
Oh, well, they were stealing the treatise.
Yeah, the treatise between the elves and the humans in Vassacre.
Yeah.
It takes place in Gold Run.
Yeah. The declarative treatise.
Yeah.
I remember that. I used to think Nicholas Crate was like kind of overacting, but then I think back on it now, and it was more just an homage to like older acting. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like it's.
I hear he's got one coming out soon where he's playing as himself.
I don't have anything
like
that.
a-
He's
can
done
do
that before.
It's like a fictional. It's like a fictional biography.
Neat. We all deserve that.
So, just a quick running list of things that we need. Forged something that's going to look similar to what they're trying to plant.
Right.
In theory, a letter in Kimberly's handwriting, which maybe if we fill him in on what's going on, he might be willing to write for us to plant. Why do we need something that disappears? What?
Oh, we were just
I was
saying
thinking
that
like if it was something that, who's the secretary? When the secretary looks at it, if he sees something written in Kimberly's hand that is what he thinks it is, but to everybody else it looks like it says, "Just kidding," or something.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen.
I'm not much one for planning.
I don't
But
know how to
if we
forge
could
things,
take-
but I can make small illusions. But I don't know. I'm not sure I can make it a forgery.
I think though, if you are convinced that you have the document that you need, you're not gonna look at it. Especially if it's it's gonna be folded
Likely sealed.
like a letter.
Do you think maybe the same would be said for the guards who are supposed to discover it?
I think if
that
we
maybe
can-
they would just find if the
I
guards are
think
in the
they
park.
read it, right?
Do you think so, or do you think they'd just be like, "All right, and now we find the document
That
and we
depends-
declare that we found it"? Would they give it a once over?
Well, I mean, a guard.
They would have to know whether or not they would need to escalate it.
Right.
So someone would give it a once over and say, "This needs to go up."
Yeah.
if we can
This
find
document is meaningless.
But if
and
those
pointless.
guards are plants too,
if we can send someone out to a shop to see if there's anything like this ink that we're talking about, we can give the pen to Horace, and Horace can write a message that will basically disappear on the actual document, and then we can tell Kimberly what's happening, and he'll know how to make the ink reappear that says the document is fake.
yeah. Yeah.
But then you could also just argue,
That Kimberly changed the text.
right? Or that it was like, just in case anybody finds it, just kidding.
Yeah, if only there was a good way to be able to tell that a document
I
is
think-
forged.
I think fully replacing the document
You could add,
with
identify
one
it.
yeah.
actually written by Kimberly stating that this document was planted, it was supposed to be incriminating evidence that I was doing something unholy is the wrong word. Untoward?
You said the identify spell.
Identify, yeah.
Can you do that?
Yeah.
So maybe the council hires you to
And
check.
not today, but I can do it tomorrow.
Right, but
Need to
maybe
tinker
you
with
get
something.
hired by the council to check all documents since they've had an issue with forgery before, and you can identify
That it's been
That
made to
it-
look like someone else's hand.
has been framed to be a forged
Yeah.
document by.
I'd do that.
We should probably talk to Genevieve and Kimberly.
We know what bar they go to.
Right. But also the whole us being seen thing before we make a public announcement is probably not good.
We could ask Genevieve to bring Kimberly here.
Yeah.
This is her house also, so it wouldn't seem odd.
Right.
Yeah. We can't collect too much here. I imagine the Children of the Mist like this house.
Well, there's the secret tunnel.
There is the secret, tunnel.
Through the mountain.
Through the mountain.
Secret.
I forget the rest. It's. Did I find any other secrets when I was walking
Make an
around?
investigation check.
Not great. 8.
8? No, just the square you stomp on the dance floor that brings up the bar, and then the push drawer
Okay.
of backup alcohol.
I'm relieved that I failed that. I did not find more things.
Hey, me too.
Can I roll again?
Yep.
Okay, good. Checking.
So we meet, we discuss the plan,
Via
and we
secret
enact
tunnel.
the plan. Harpers are already working on their end.
Is Genevieve home?
I
Do we
don't
need
know
to-
what the schedule's like.
Do we need to call off the Harpers? Were they trying to plant a new document?
No,
Or they're
That's
just
what we
tracking
just
it
asked
for
them
us?
to
Yeah.
do.
we were going to give them one, but we can just tell them we found a better idea.
Yeah.
So should I call them back? Like, but we haven't given them anything, so they can't start anything. So I guess we could wait
We'll
until
see one of them.
Okay.
Should we contact Genevieve?
Yes. If
I'd
you're
be-
able to.
Let me just do a quick. I'm gonna lean out of this room and just shout her name
From the
real
secret room?
loud. Yeah.
Make
It's
a
just one
persuasion
of
check.
one of the holes in the eyes of some painting. Just,
Genevieve!
just the mouth.
Are you already at home? 22.
22.
It's a painting of Silas. It's just a mouthful. Genevieve!
You wait a moment. You're pretty sure she's not here.
Yeah, I don't think she's here right now. I'll call her.
Okay.
You scared the shit out of a guy that works here.
There was like a guard right outside this door. Okay, 4th level
You're
spell.
playing
Why
an
does this
old
always
game,
happen? Genevieve! It's me! Where are you?
Do I hear this?
Yeah, I say that.
You like that?
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on?
I'm at my council chambers. Where are you?
Is Anne at home? No, that's a different building, huh? I'm at home. Can you come by with Kimberly? No assistant.
Where is she?
Just you, Kimberly. Council?
Could we? I mean, we could be
Making
seen
up
going
words
to
there.
the council to talk.
Sure.
We'd have to speak publicly pretty soon.
We'll be there within the hour.
Hour? Here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Excellent.
Smooches.
Love you.
The fuck? You always mixed messages like, hello, Mom, please don't hurt me, and then singing now? You have one volcano in your brain, and now you're the weirdest person that's ever happened.
You've never been nervous before.
Oh, yeah, but my reaction to nerves is different than others. Mine is kill everything in the room until the nerves are gone.
Yeah, you can't do that though. It's not healthy for you.
Well, we've
I've
proven
been just
ourselves to be a
kinda-
very healthy family,
Listen,
haven't
here's
we?
the thing. It's a complicated family relationship. I'm trying out a couple of different navigations on that.
I refilled my
Also-
candle.
You're kind of trying to. Here's the thing about that spell. It's hard to figure out how you're going to communicate that, like, hey, I'm talking to you, but everything is fine. We just needed to talk quickly, though. Also, but don't worry.
If,
You know
if
what?
only there was some kind of way to, like, indicate that you're about to speak into someone's brain. Because even if I could, yeah, like maybe like a small,
feel like that
a
would-
short ringing, you know, like a gentle like.
Make your chimes if
Can
you.
you tell her to make sure that
A
Kim's
whistle?
assistant doesn't come?
I
to them?
said no assistant.
Okay, cool.
Just you guys.
Good.
Here.
Excellent.
Alone.
As you all wait for Genevieve to return to Miss Vale Keep within the hour, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We'll be back in 10 minutes. Don't go away.
Oh no!
Do it.
You got
Oh no! Oh no!
Yes.
What's gonna happen?
The line of monstrous bandits advance towards you. You hear creaking coming from the woods, when suddenly, belching out from the forest, the dire troll. You're up first.
I cast Fireball.
That's all of them. Roll damage.
All sixes.
Booyah!
All right, you're next.
I cast Cone of Cold. It says AD8 right here. 64 points of damage.
I cast lightning bolt.
That's all right with me.
You just did that.
Radiates this like golden energy, and I cast shield.
He looks down in sorrow and then turns a fiery gaze to the rest of you. And that's where we're going to end tonight's episode.
You motherfucker!
I'm Cork.
Nice.
Cool.
Give him the official Herald salute, Arcana crew.
Was that gonna be the answer no matter what?
Yes.
Okay.
And very quickly, my head just turns. It's almost like someone called me, and I look back at you and I give you one last wave and one little sad look before blowing you a kiss and waving goodbye.
She goes, hot damn, mama. And I'm going to slap her on the ass, and then I'm going to whip around behind.
We have an unboxing to do. This was sent to us by a wonderful viewer of the show who's been with us from the very beginning, I believe.
Yeah.
In this package, there are gifts for all of you, as well as candy to share.
I already prepped.
Okay.
Whoa!
Hooray.
The end of it now, you're coming to the other side. I need everybody to make one more constitution. And makes it over to this pillar.
Also, Cameron, this map looks amazing.
Right?
Let's see if I can throw that out.
Built it with my own two hands.
What about that other hand? What was it?
It watched. Stay safe out there, adventurers.
Listen, I can only catch the.
Welcome back. We continue right where we left off, as the Mistwalkers are awaiting the arrival of Genevieve and Kimberly from the council in Mistvale Keep. Is there anything over this next hour that you guys would like to do? You've got enough time to take a short rest, or maybe work on any little bubbly guys you got going?
You've got bubbly guy. Yeah, I'll go for a bubbly guy.
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna try to like flip one of the secret switches in this room with a mist form.
Oh
if
yeah.
I can.
Nice.
Try to do something specific with these tendrils.
Yeah, go ahead and make an Arcana check.
Gotta get a 16. It's
I like
a meets
these.
it beats it,
I've
right?
done one of
Yeah.
these
On these?
before.
Yeah, 15.
What's your DC?
Yeah.
15?
16 to
You
Last
can
time
use
I
them
just
to make-
crafted stuff, right?
So 16?
Yeah, you
that
can
makes
use them
sense.
to craft.
I just didn't write it.
do whatever.
I think I'm gonna work on my bubbles also.
Is that a good snap or a bad snap?
That's a bad snap.
Ah.
14 instead of 16. 12 plus 2.
I like this little bubble system because, like, sometimes if you have like an idea that would be really cool, but it's not in your wheelhouse, it would almost behoove you to be like, okay, first I'm going to try and become proficient in this skill, and then I will use my proficiency in that skill to get the thing that I really want.
Bolster.
It's just going to take me 2 weeks. What's Cholula working on?
I was just doing some like body weight workouts.
Nice. Just getting a quick 15.
I was fucking cocked in it.
Nice cat.
Nice cock.
In it.
In it.
For some reason, the idea of the nice cock in a British accent seems bad.
I would almost
Nice cock in it.
Hey, beats it.
Nice.
Wee, wee, wee.
How many bubbles you got left, and what's your DC?
My DC is now going to be at 15. Boop, boop, boop. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bubbles left.
Nice cork.
Nice.
Have I actually done any bubbles?
No,
I
it's
can't
not.
remember.
I don't think so.
Okay.
But if there's anything that you want to work on, if you
Nice
want to learn a proficiency, if you want to...
I think it's dumb that I'm not
try different
proficient in investigation, so
Right?
yeah, I feel like I should be pretty good at that.
Yeah, if you wanted to look around, taking inspiration from Silas, kind of like check around the conversation pit to see if there's any other secret things, go ahead and make an investigation check. We'll say, so first off, if you want to make like a little set of 10 circles in your notebook,
Cool.
getting a proficiency wouldn't be super crazy for investigation, so we'll start the DC at 10.
Cool. 11.
Nice.
Nice.
That's one success. Your DC goes up to 11 for the next bubble. And yeah, anytime you've got downtime, you can work on that. And once you get 10 bubbles filled in, then you will be proficient in investigation.
Just in like trying to press the bar one, but I can't get enough pressure, you know?
Yeah.
Like to like activate the click.
It's like, it's just kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, Howie comes over and notices that there's actually like 2 smaller indentations within that one that you've got to press in first before it moves.
But I've been doing this for an hour.
Just like missed against it. Alma, anything you want to work on?
This is a study, right?
Not really anymore.
Oh.
There's a study upstairs.
Is there a library in this?
It's behind the study, yeah. We went through like the study had like bookcase goes through, and that's where the secret room was.
Don't we fire pole down to the secret room, and then that leads
No,
out
this-
through a tunnel?
We've established that this is a different secret room
Yeah.
than the one that's the fire pole. But you get there from the same office?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
This office is riddled. Don't play certain songs, because this whole room will start opening up.
So yeah, there's an office outside, Silas's office, and there is a library in the keep as well.
Okay, I'm gonna look for the library
Doors.
and try and just like hunt down some books. We know there are not texts about the severance, right?
Probably
there-
not in
there
this
are
library.
There's like speculation, but the Severance came directly before the Age of Absence, So there's not a lot of information.
I guess I'll. It feels like such a shot in the dark, but I'll just look for like world history or legend.
Okay. Make.
And if the entire time is just dedicated to finding the texts, that's fine.
Yeah, go ahead and make an investigation check.
That is a natural 20.
Ooh, that's funny, baby.
You write it.
Nice.
I know it.
Yeah, you find relatively quickly within the hour. I'll say you have enough time to like find a book and pour through the first couple of chapters. It's not super dense, but it
There's
isn't.
pictures.
Yeah. Not super thick, I should say. Like it's a relatively small book, and
It's like a hotel Bible.
it's actually the reason it was so easy to find is it's just entitled "The Severance."
Oh.
And reading through it, it's the author is clear to state that a lot of this is speculative. But there are certain points that, when notated, are have been corroborated by artifacts that were found. And it talks about how before the Severance, the gods of Kavora, the pantheon that is worshipped today, actually resided within the material plane and walked Kavora alongside mortals whom they had created. And it talks about how there were growing tensions between these gods and the primordials, which were, to translate to knowledge that we would understand, or lore that we would understand, the primordials are akin to like the Titans in this history. So they were still godlike beings, but lesser than the gods themselves.
And that's the gospel truth.
You see a couple of names that ring some bells. Namely, Chandragora is listed as one of these primordial beings.
So they also lived on the material plane? Okay.
Yeah, so the history as it's written in the first couple of chapters here is that the gods created the primordials, and then the primordials created sentient life, basically. I was going to say humans, but it's more than that. Humanoids and other intelligent creatures were created by the primordials.
So the primordials were made by the gods, not the other way around?
Correct. According to this text.
Is that what I've heard so far?
I don't think you've heard anything about this so far. At least not about, like, creation.
Okay.
Myth. So yeah, you learn, according to this author, that's how that went down. The primordials created, I'm just going to call it humanity for the sake of getting through this. And a number of the deities, the prime deities, thought that wasn't super chill. And that led to infighting among a lot of the gods. Some of them were like, yeah, this is great. These people are cool. We can like make them do stuff for us. And then other ones were like, hey, that's not cool. Maybe we shouldn't make them do stuff. Maybe they should have free will. And then there were other ones that were like, they never should have been made in the first place. So between all of this, between all of this.
So that is not super chill.
I say unto you, deity, that is not chill.
I raise my sword and I doth proclaim uncool.
I renounce this pantheon as super not chill.
And then eventually fighting broke out, which led to, you're kind of like flipping through at this point, skipping over a lot of really like boring passages. But fighting broke out, which led to a war that enveloped all of Kavora. You also see it's kind of confusing because Kavora is referred to it many times as the planet, but also referred to sometimes as a primordial being itself. And you're not sure if they're like separate entities and one was like named for the other, or if it's referring to them as the same thing. It's unclear in the text.
So the earth on which we walk could be
Could be a dead primordial, yeah.
Little guy.
Little guy.
It's a turtle. We all know this.
Probably a turtle.
Cam, this is where Cam didn't write fantasy. It's a turtle. We all live on a turtle. It's a rounded one.
So the earth is half round.
Yeah, I mean, from what we
Yeah,
can
it's
see.
more of a dome.
Yeah.
You might ask what's underneath the turtle.
Yeah.
It's turtle.
That's
It's another turtle.
that's the Underdark.
The rest of the turtle.
Okay.
But yeah, it goes on to discuss the war between the gods, which there's not a lot of information on, and then the titular event of this book is the Severance, which is where the gods had eventually separated themselves into two separate factions. Those who wished to destroy the mortals, and those who thought that they should leave this place and no longer have a hand in the lives of men and should leave them to their own devices. Those two sides fought each other, and eventually those who won were on the side of leaving. So the prime deities, as we know them, were willfully or perhaps forcefully removed from the material plane, and that event is known as the Severance. Following the Severance came the Age of Absence, which is about, nobody knows exactly the length of time, but it's speculated to be between 150 to 200 years, where humans basically humanoids had to figure shit out themselves without the help of god beings. So they're like, wasn't a writing system for a while. There wasn't a way of keeping histories. A lot of those things were lost in the desolation of the land and eventually the Severance.
I thought maybe when the gods started fighting, they were like, hey, this is strictly off the record.
Does
Scratch that.
Does this book mention any locations of artifacts or evidence that one could still go to?
Make one more investigation check.
I imagine I'm just kind of standing over Alma now, who is just like into this book that is the entire world.
19.
19. Nice.
Things are
Pulling all
going
the other
well.
Yeah.
You see one thing that's appears to have actually been added on in handwriting is a passage on Chandragora and its location in Mistinor. You get the sense maybe Genevieve was doing some research and adding her own findings to this text. And what else do you find?
Your handwriting is so tiny, but so legible. It blows my mind.
You also find
I write like a chicken with a doctorate.
Yeah, same.
oh shit, hang on. I gotta
Oh,
I need to put this document not
Scratches.
just on my phone.
It's
Oh,
legible, it's just wild.
big, heavy-handed. Yeah.
This one writes in like the richest fourth grader that just learned cursive. Like it's like beautiful handwriting. All of her recipe cards are like, I don't know.
I'm like a
You're
second
writing.
grade kid that holds a pencil like this, trying to write. You know.
Nick Fields, we would write together,
Yeah.
and it'd be trying to like plot something, so we'd write on index cards. It'd be 3 words, and it'd be like, this looks like a sentence. This looks like new letters.
Sorry, I misspoke earlier. You see a name that piques your interest. It is not Chandragora, it is Shandaril. That's ShandarYll. And in the notation that's added on, it speaks about Chandragora. and you see that Genevieve has kind of made a connection, but it's still tentative. There are a lot of question marks. Something interesting that you see is not locations, but the names of the primordials are listed. And there are 2 that have no information about them.
And they're not ones I've heard before.
Correct. And I will tell you what those are. Each of them has a name and then a pseudonym, and the pseudonyms refer to stone tablets found from that predate the Severance, that are some of the few depictions of these primordial gods that exist.
Okay.
One of them is Tanzil the Bringer, and there's a symbol of a hand that has 2 thumbs. The other is Kavora the Keeper, whose symbol is a profile of a skull that's kind of slightly downturned, but the dome itself is has trees sprouting from it. It's like a globe. And then there's Shandaril, also referred to as the Bestower, whose symbol is a tree with branches at both ends, and that's where kind of the offshoot of Genevieve's handwriting talking about Chandragora comes from.
A tree with branches at both ends?
Right, so it's like a trunk, and then where there would normally be branches and roots, instead it's branches on both sides.
Okay.
Then there are 2 names that don't have symbols.
Okay.
The first is Sorlin, which is Sorellynn. And the second is Krothum, which is Kroth apostrophe, because it's fantasy, UN. Krothum and Sorlin. And there's no information on those 2. But you do see that those names were found on tablets, but with no adjoining descriptor or symbol.
And that's aside from the primordials that I already know of. Tanzil, Kavora, and Shandaril, those are the ones I already know about.
Yes.
Okay. Got
And then
it.
there's two extras that you hadn't heard of, and there doesn't seem to be a lot of information on.
Okay.
And then, if you're curious, I can also give you a list of the prime deities
Those are the ones,
that are
the
currently
cut is
worshipped.
king.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we have that printout actually somewhere.
Yeah.
We
Mhm.
should.
Yeah.
I think it's on that table.
Yeah.
So no, I'm good there.
Excellent.
I'll bring by a glass of water.
I just go gulp and put it
The-
down.
Keeper and the Bringer. Does that sound like preservation?
And creation, cultivation. So which one? Tanzil was the bringer.
Tanzil is the bringer, yes.
Kavora is the keeper.
Mhm.
And Shandaril,
The bestower.
the bestower. None of those sound like destruction.
I mean, you could bestow destruction.
I suppose that's true.
And we kind of mentioned that destruction isn't a bad thing necessarily either.
No. So, but what? These other 2 are unfamiliar.
I just saw what was on the page, just making assumptions.
Right, Sorlin and Krothun. I'm guessing
With an M.
I think your mom wrote a pronunciation thing there.
but how would she know? She's only ever read it.
She's an elf.
Crotham.
Am I around to hear any of this?
Absolutely. I'd say you're all kind of regathering at this point as
Would
the hour
I
nears its
know
end.
anything about any of this kind of stuff?
Make a history check.
Okay.
If you roll a nat 20, I'm gonna go just take a break. While Cameron explains to you the creation of the world.
Not great. 12.
12. You have heard
I've been
of
rolling real bad.
You've heard of Chandragora from the Mistwalkers.
Yeah.
Told you about that tree, the big dead tree. Seems upsetting, maybe that's dead.
Why is there battle music happening?
Is there?
There was.
Shangragora?
Yes.
Sounds similar to
You saw it, right?
No.
Yeah, it was the big tree.
And
Yeah.
Mistinor, the big
Which has the big
grown
tree.
over tree.
But that tree is now
Obviously,
dead.
you know, Kavora is the name of this
The land,
this
yeah.
realm. But yeah, I don't think you've ever heard of Tanzil. You've definitely never heard of Sorelin or Krothum.
In theory, if Kavora is the earth, right, and it is a dead being, we might be able to talk to it.
Why do
How do
you
we
think
know it's dead?
There's shit glowing everywhere. Shit all over the place.
I mean,
walls.
things can
In my
grow
heart.
out of dead things
Right.
as they decay. So it doesn't necessarily mean that the planet is dead, but that the soul that inhabited it
Right. The tree
is
wasn't
dead.
talking and walking, but it was dead in a sense that it wasn't sentient to us.
So, I mean, if it's alive, we could also maybe talk to it.
Could you? What?
Silas and Cholula make a quick history check.
Okay.
Oh, 21.
Nice.
17.
They have a +2 to that.
Okay, I'm. This was a really long time ago, but I'm
Was it
pretty
the
sure.
library?
I'm pretty sure I'm remembering correctly. When you guys were on the Isle of Rovengul, heading towards Chandragora to fight the Silver Stake, I'm pretty sure that Rabbit told you about the moment where they climbed a tree because there were those bits of falling, like ash.
Yeah.
And they
They're
touched
like
it.
silvery
Yeah.
leaves.
Yeah, they touched it, and then they had a vision.
I don't remember what the vision was.
Potentially, that could be construed as communication,
Right.
but it's hard to say.
So.
I'd say on those rolls, that's about what you remember.
Okay.
Chandril has the symbol of the tree, right?
Right.
We were told there was another tree, a counterpart.
Really?
Right? When that one died, we were worried about it and like, oh,
Right,
is
so
this too
there's
bad?
branches on here, but there's also branches on here.
There's a counterpart to
Like
Shan-
So would they
another
be
side.
directly opposite each other?
Possibly. but
I'm
that's
not,
What
a,
would be?
I'm not a graphic
a long way
designer. I'm
to
not
go.
entirely sure how that would go. You would assume.
I think you've had this conversation before and discussed it, and I think you pinpointed that it would most likely be. And it's hard to tell because the flat maps of Kavora are not 100%. Well, first off, they're not 100%.
Well, there was a globe in Silas's study.
Right, that's true. Even still, things are not perfectly to scale.
Right.
It's like when you look at a current map of things, and like the U.S. and Africa are roughly the same size. They're not actually the same size.
Africa's like the whole world.
Yeah. It's like similar to that. So it's hard to pinpoint, but I think you guys notated that it would either be somewhere in northern Windfell
Oh yeah,
or
like up in the.
or around the ice plains of Isimer on Vastiker.
That's a pretty massive difference.
Yeah.
Maps and places, maps and places, maps and
Can-
places.
Anyone taught to a tree to begin with?
It spoke to one of our compatriots. Sort of, in a way. It kind of forced a vision
Like
onto
maybe
them.
if you touch it, it can do that. But I
In a
also
way-
you know, sometimes we have shopping episodes, and I do have a potion of speak with plants.
Do you?
It's weird that you call them episodes. I just call them outings.
Well, she calls it
Kind
an
of like a
episode because she
fugue episode.
blacks out and it comes
And then
back.
I just have these things in my bag.
I've been there.
I've had another one of my shopping episodes.
We've
What
got a
more
slap
pans?
My money.
There's so many pans in this house. You only use sharp things. I don't know why you don't use a pan as a blunt object. It's proven historically to really ruin people's brains.
So I feel like we need to find a head to talk to Kavora or something. I don't know how this works.
It spoke to our friend through the means that it
So touch.
through touch. I imagine means that it would understand through maybe the roots or through. In this case, it was a silvery
Leave.
leave.
I mean, we're making a lot of assumptions, but yeah.
I'm just saying, like, we can't walk up to it and go, "Hey, bud,"
Yeah.
but it would, it would find a way to speak to us. I imagine, based on its environs.
Learning histories, I see. You turn and see Genevieve standing in the doorway with Kimberly nearby.
And light on your
Trying.
feet. Yeah.
Trying
Hello
to.
again?
And trying to figure out how they're relevant right now. There's a prophecy that's urgent, but Kimberly, there is something more urgent to you right now that Cholula and Howie discovered today.
Conversation pit.
Conversation.
Conversation
pit.
pit.
Conversation pit.
Is it a conversation bit?
We have a conversation.
Yes,
pit.
right. Right. Right here.
The bookshelf opens. Wow, and you did it 3 times, so
There's a bar down
there's
there.
no way I'm going to remember which one
exactly.
opens this.
That's the point. Yeah. It's actually all 3. It's a combination.
Make a deception check.
You'd be surprised at how well this might go. 14. Wow, I have a plus 10 to that.
He buys it and steps
Yeah, and I
inside.
know where the bar is down there too.
Did we ever find that?
You step inside. Genevieve immediately walks over and stomps on the dance floor, and the bar rises from the ground.
Yeah, we did this all to get Genevieve to dance.
I still
One
think it's
stop.
stupid.
2 hops next time.
To the left.
Right foot to the left.
It's actually
That's
a
how you
treasure
get
map.
in. Yeah.
Oh,
The next
to go
Indiana
through
Jones
every
is so weird.
It's a musical.
you all enter the conversation pit with your drinks and have a
Yes.
seat.
Yeah.
Raise the stairs.
Okay, so we did something this afternoon.
You call it that?
Howie and I were able to sort of infiltrate into one of the hideouts for the Children of the Mist. And then the main kind of person that we were talking to dismissed everyone else and revealed themselves to actually be hoppers that are spying from within the organization. So what their plan is currently is to plant forged documents on you and Vagan to say that you're trying to bring power back to the temple over the city. And one of City Guard are involved. We don't know exactly who, but we do know that your assistant is one of the people who is involved and is supposedly going to be dropping documents for City Guard to find and try to out you for doing whatever. Also, Galcine was innocent.
Benwin?
Yes.
Does Kimberly look surprised that he is going to be accused?
Make an insight check.
It's the reason why we told you not to bring your assistant, of course.
Wait, that makes more sense now.
12.
12. I mean, he seems, yes, surprised at
Okay.
receiving this news. It doesn't seem like something he was like, I knew they were plotting against me.
No, I was making sure, just like one final check, that he wasn't like,
Yeah, but he's also...
that's because
yeah,
I am.
but he's also very much not being like, oh, no.
That's the greatest voice to be inconspicuous. So hard to hide that.
I really didn't know about this.
This is news to all of us.
You just willfully failed that check. Oh.
No, instead he's just like, that little snake.
Right.
Snack?
So we do know a little snack.
Snake.
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 We do know that Sybil is sort of the head of this sort of plan, and there are only a handful of people within the cult that know that this evidence is being planted. So the majority of the cult is just
They
sort
will believe that another council member has been found guilty.
of,
And
yes,
But
exactly.
it's been corruption the whole time.
So, an idea that we've come up with is possibly if the council, since you've had a history with forged documents before, hire our friend here, Howie, and maybe another person if you know anyone else who could do who can identify things magically.
And what's more is that you and Howie just infiltrated, so
they'll think
that he's one of them.
So if you can have him as sort of the go-between when your assistant brings documents, he checks them.
Right. That could be put in order. Genevieve speaks up. Perhaps I like the idea of having two people identify the documents so that there's less of a chance of thinking that perhaps, we've paid someone looking into it. It could really benefit us if one of those two people were really believed to be on their side, which, as we know with the meeting, how many members of the Children of the Mist were present and saw Howie?
There were 6, I believe.
And one of those was
I have to look at my notes.
I
Sybil.
did not write that down.
I see.
There was.
Perhaps if we really wanted to hammer the point home so that no member of the Children of the Mist could be led astray or could not be privy to this.
5, 6.
Maybe if you made some sort of public declaration of a new addition to the Mistwalkers, perhaps that could curry favor even more.
Well, see, the thing is,
That was a real sigh.
we do also have to make a public declaration denouncing the cult, essentially.
Right.
And exposing their motives.
Would it
And-
not make more sense to maybe... Sorry, continue.
Well, we were just feeling like if we wanted them to listen, it would be better for us to have proof of their plots.
Right.
But
That can come down the line, though.
it could feel weird for us to go publicly show up and say, hey, here's a new guy. Cool. And then, 2 days later, we're like, by the way.
I was thinking more, less just a public, look, new member, and more of making a public return, an announcement. The Mistwalkers are back in Chillrun. It's been a decade. Maybe a brief explanation of what happened, how you met Howard, and explaining that he is now one of you. He has joined the Mistwalkers. That could perhaps be the catalyst that sets in motion this plan against Kimberly and not Virgalore, that's Mistinor. And Vagan, Councilman
Play both sides.
Slybearer. That could perhaps set those things in motion so that when that plot takes place, because now the Children of the Mist, all of them will know the Mistwalkers are back, now's our time to do the thing.
Right, yeah.
So we don't make it known publicly that we know that Howie is a children.
Exactly, so that
We
it
think
doubles
he's an
down,
adult.
so that when the documents are found, it's more of like, oh, well, we should have these documents identified, and who better to do so than someone all of the Children of the Mist will trust, a Mistwalker himself.
I like it.
Sure. How soon could we?
We could set up a press conference, a sort of junket tomorrow.
Junket.
That sounds good.
Sure.
Junket.
Could speak to the people.
We could split it up a bit.
Sure.
That always
You're-
works.
I mean,
Alma, you're
you're-
usually pretty disarming.
Ha 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 ha.
How are you with public speaking?
I really beefed it earlier.
I heard there was a bit of a commotion.
Loudly and publicly, I sure beefed it.
I heard there was a bit of a commotion in Silverlight Park. There were a lot of rumors
I would
swirling about.
call the people disarmed.
Right.
I could regale them as to what happened in Bolka, justifying that we are Mistwalkers, that's the reason why we were gone, and that we had again walked through the mist, and then you could do a bit more of the public relations, as you are kind of convincing when you can be, when you want to be.
Public relations.
I could
PR.
introduce Howie to the people. Okay, so we start with Mist. We move into, we're back, glad to be here. And then I introduce Howie with some...
Should we maybe throw in the Howie section after the Mist, since that is where you met?
Probably.
I can toss to
Sort
it.
of just keep organically
Maybe you
one
do,
to the other.
You do what happened in Borca, and then you do and how it helped us to escape and has become part of the Mistwalkers.
I kind of wonder though...
Did you want to close
And
with?
I can close with, and we're
we-
back to, sort of check up on things and children.
Does it diminish the Children of the Mist's trust in Howie's organic meeting and addition to their team if we reveal that we met him so recently in the Mists?
I told him that I was with y'all.
It was 10 years ago.
Okay, great.
For all they know.
Yeah, that's true,
We've
as
been
long
palling
as-
around for a decade.
And before the others left the room, what they were telling us essentially was that they had found evidence that Kimberly and Megan had been meeting in private, and that they were planning on doing, they were sort of trying to plant the seeds of what they want everyone else to believe.
Got
So
it.
they have no reason to think that Howie would think otherwise.
And it is true. I have been meeting with Vig and Slaybearer. We've been discussing ways and perhaps that followers of the Fairfather and those who have access to his power of light could aid in agricultural growth in the region.
Sure.
Closer to the edges of the region where, it is not quite as hospitable still. So we have been having meetings about, food sources.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It'd probably be best to leave the council to not speak, as at least during this particular portion, to
Right.
further
Yeah, right.
persuade the Children of the Mist
Certainly.
from our connection. And
Perhaps,
I
the
don't-
only council member that needs to be maybe
Don't talk about any connection to either one right now.
yeah,
the only council member that really would need to be present even on stage with you would be Genevieve, because she is one of you as well.
right.
Should we make a statement about how, we're back to check on things because we heard of things happening within the council, and so we've brought Howie back with us to just sort of check on the documents and make sure that things are not being forged, and make sure that we've made good choices of who to put in on the council.
I don't know if we need to go as specific as to mentioning documents, because there were forgeries in the past, but
I believe...
I think just leaving it at looking in on the council.
Just sort of a general, we're here to...
But even then, do we want to even?
No, I think we allow that to kind of
Acknowledge.
get spread as a rumor.
Yeah.
Oh, so purely just we're back.
Yeah.
This is our newest member,
Treat him as you would any of
Howard.
us.
Howard? Do you want to be introduced as Howard? Or Howie?
People are going to walk up to you and say, "You're Howard." Up to
Yeah.
this-
No, let's do Howard.
Yeah.
Howard.
Then I'll know who,
Oh, who knows you and
Only
who
the
knows.
only the Chilrunians call me Howard.
Got it. Okay.
So do we just say that we're here to stop in, and then we're on our way out?
I mean, everybody... It would be easier if we make it clear we'll be here for like a minute.
Yes, but given a statement like "we're back," it sounds like
Right,
we're here to
that's
take over.
true.
We
Like,
No.
they want us.
We don't
Yeah, I
need to
think
mention
that's a good
specifics, but we
point.
can say
We heard.
We'll
that
be
there
here
were-
for a little
the
bit.
realms are
it's-
calling again.
Yes.
And again, keep in mind, it's been a decade since any of these people have seen you, so it's less of a we're back and we're here to take over. I don't know why I'm talking like this. Genevieve doesn't have an accent. It's less of a we're back and we're here to take over, and more of a we've returned.
We noticed it's
After
been 10 years.
we've been gone for a decade.
Yeah.
You'll notice we've not changed.
Here's what happened. So maybe I should start.
You do you.
Maybe I should start with, we're back. It's been a long time,
Back
and we
again.
have reasons.
I'll just provide ambiance.
Yes.
And then you say,
make
"Here's
some
what
I can make
happened
some
in Borca."
fogginess.
And then you say it, and then we found Howie.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful, and I don't think it can go wrong.
No,
Someone
not at all.
should do the goodbye, though. I don't want to do our normal
How-
goodbyes publicly.
As our newest member, Howie has to goodbye.
Okay.
One more thing.
One more thing.
That is the worst goodbye. And then we leave.
One more thing, you all strike a heroic pose.
Oh, right. Should we do kind of a thing? Do kind of a show, like a big glowing bird? Or
I mean, in
didn't
theory,
we-
we'll be standing right above our fountain.
Yeah, also last time,
I was much more.
kind of set things off a little bit
Yeah.
Yeah.
with the theatrics.
Maybe after we do that, maybe we can have like a little a meet and greet afterwards. Where people can come up and ask us questions and see that we're just people.
Maybe do like
we're
a
just
panel.
very
Yeah.
deadly people.
It gives us a chance also to kind of gauge people
Yeah, we
if
can do
anybody's
that.
acting especially strange.
Yeah, I'd be down with meeting 20 or 30 people.
Sure.
Distinct individuals.
Should we have?
You seem stressed.
No,
You're sweating.
no, I want to meet 20 or 30 individual people with their own lives and backstories.
Names.
Names, the
Visuals.
preferences on their favorite members.
Individual conversations.
Individual
each
conversations,
time.
10 minutes a pop, a
Wow,
picture,
10 minutes.
a painted picture.
We should probably have an exit prepared though from that, especially if anything
Right.
goes. If we get ambushed by the crowd.
If it goes sour,
Not like they're trying to kill us, but out of excitement, or if
we should plan for that anyway, right?
How many
or
of
if
us
people
can
start
fly
asking
at
us
this
about the
time?
cult in front of members of the cult.
So we'll have security. We don't have to do like a public Q&A or anything. It can just be, give your speech and then maybe shake a few hands in the crowd
Yeah.
away from the thaumaturgic devices so that no one, you're not taking
Publicly.
questions,
Right.
You don't have to give too many statements outside of just, it's good to be back. We want to talk to you, the people.
I think if things go really horribly sideways, just fucking run.
Right, maybe Pippin's like, right, maybe we just tell him that we're actually not the Mistwalkers and then we run away. I can
That's
throw a
not
rat.
me.
I can throw a rat into the crowd.
Do you have a spare?
We can find one.
Or maybe you could call what's his name, and we can pretend that he's an enemy, and we have to chase him down, and everyone screams
Alright.
and goes home,
Oh, Bodan?
and we just chase him back to the keep, and we all go to bed.
I think that's actually a good one.
Yeah.
We
But
just.
what if you have to use Badan later?
I can ask him to come back a couple of times.
If I'm getting this correctly, to try and dissuade a cult that was born from a glowing head of a fallen figurehead, we're going to give a speech, and if things go awry, we're going to summon an angel and fight it in the streets.
No, we're gonna
we're gonna
chase
chase
him.
I'm going to chase it and fight it elsewhere.
Okay,
In our
why are
beds.
you chasing the angel though?
So that we have a chance to just run away and
No.
nobody chases
I'm
us.
I'm
Maybe
talking
Badan could-
narratively. When the
maybe-
angel shows up, what reason does it give for you to fight it?
Maybe Badan flies by and says, I hate children a lot. And then we chase him.
Wait, just to
children.
keep it. Here's the thing. We
I'll come
would
back and
be
kill
better
Seth.
off. We would be better off right now if we don't look cool or suave at all, right?
Right.
Right,
Right.
just plain.
Oh.
Where the,
So-
the everyman speech.
We're definitely
That
going to
seems
be
so
ourselves,
difficult.
for sure.
So we
we're
summon
chill.
Bodan so we can run away, but instead of saying like I hate children, somebody should stop me, he says, "Hey, Miss Walkers, you ready to get smooched?" Because that's silly.
Maybe I could bring out a broom or something and hand it to one of you, and you could hold it up and be like, "We're gonna clean up the council."
I like
No,
that.
I don't like that.
Genevieve is like,
Everyone's got a broom.
"We're not doing that.
When you see
We
the
can
broom
put
in
a
your
bad
house.
toupee on one of us.
It's just the return of the heroes who have been gone for a decade. We're back. This is where we've been. We're glad to be here in our home. The end."
That's the Genevieve I know and love, ruining
Genevieve-
a bit run for as
Genevieve,
long as we can.
maybe what if you did all the talking and then we run away?
Oh yeah. Well, Genevieve wasn't involved with it.
Yeah, I don't think that
But
would
the
look
rest
great.
of it, you know, you here.
How close to the statue is this stage? I don't want to be compared to the
Well,
statue.
we would set up a stage. There's
You
not one
look the
built in.
same.
Yeah, but
I was planning
not
to maybe
all
set
the
it up.
way.
Maybe set it up in front of the statue so that you're kind of framed. We could also do it at a separate location if you don't want to
No,
be.
it's fine.
It's been 10 days.
What if you all stand under statues?
We
It's
could
been
do it
10 years
on the
for them.
steps to the council building, which the crowd would be around the statue, so it would be kind of.
That's fine. Yeah, I
Looking
think
out
us
among
just
it.
really close. Like in the statue, do I remember? Are we to scale? Or
No,
is the
no, it's
statue
larger than
life.
See, I don't like that. That's weird. Like,
But I mean, being next to it and
it takes
you know,
power away
having-
from us. Like, look,
But they've been looking at exactly. They've
That could
been
be
looking
good,
at
though.
The statues for 10 years, and now they see the people that have been depicted, and we're just like little people.
Right.
I
If
guess
your
it's
if
not
your
like we
aim
spent
is
the past couple days telling people we've been costume playing as certain members of the Mistwalkers.
I mean, in fairness, I did try that. And it failed.
I know. I can still understand things when I'm a mouse rat horse, right? Okay, just
Right,
want you all
so-
to know that.
So if the idea is to make yourselves appear as though, we're the everyman, we are just like you, we're just people, which I should reiterate is not actually the case. You have
Yeah.
done some ridiculous
we'll be standing
things.
next to
No,
a
but
statue of
I
ourselves.
think-
Right,
I
but that's what I'm saying.
really-
If the statue is huge, it gives perspective. These are the actual people. There's bound to be the people in the audience who are like they're
Point
shorter
taken.
than
I
I
want to
expected.
make it clear.
Very deadly and smart and charming group of people
I
that
don't
happen
think,
to
though,
do
that the goal
heroic
is-
deeds. We're not necessarily, worshipable.
Yeah, I think the goal is less, hey, we're just like you, and more like pretty clearly on contact. We shouldn't be leading
Yeah.
anything.
I could rip a big beaver to open.
Well,
That could be good. Set the tone.
Yeah. Yes, Genevieve. Because someone's like, oh, I idolize these. And I'm just like, wow. And then missed.
No, because then guess what?
Just literally shit
Guess
on the
what?
Children of the Mist's
The
ideals.
Children of the Mist are gonna then decide, hey, as a greeting, fart to say hello.
If I fart mist for 4 seconds, they will be like, oh, wait, we named ourselves after a fart.
Oh, that's way.
The whole time, all of that mist was
Can
just
you?
one big flatulence
Silence.
episode.
This is very important. Can you fart on command?
No, I can fake it, but you know what I mean? I could just kind of like, and then like mist can come out of me.
I guess it doesn't have to make a sound.
Right, someone else could.
What?
Could you make a device
That makes fart
that
sound?
just rips super long?
Anyone got one ready?
A device?
Got one in the chamber?
A fart? Can we make a fart sound with our mouths?
No, everyone would know.
Impossible.
Do you have any carbonated beverages?
I mean, probably.
Right, I could just drink one of those real fast, do some jumping jacks.
The fart thing was a joke.
Hold
Why are we
in.
still talking about this?
Oh, I thought it was.
No.
Well,
It would be
30
funny,
minutes, I'll have a fart ready.
because that whole time they were like running away, and
I don't know.
when we were
Stand
taking
upside down?
taking the innocents underground, and they were hiding in the mist. It was all a fart.
Well, I thought.
So we'll figure it out on the spot. That's what I hear. We're
What I had
gonna let it
presented-
play.
Back through the fart, and we've come here.
What I presented earlier is that we remind the people that part of heroing is going where you're needed, and we can't, just stay and chill, run, and rule it. That's not what we do. We're adventurous, and we go where they
We've
need
got
heroes.
many a town to liberate, and not all of them have stupid cult members that want to follow a bunch of ragtag fools.
We'll do that announcement later on.
Yeah, I think that's a good spot. I think that's a good spot to be in. And
You're about to just close the stream out.
I
That's good.
We're good.
You guys like that?
We're good.
You all like
I
that?
think we got it. I think we got it.
Top it up parts,
That was
y'all.
the last
Done.
thing that was in our script.
These fancy teleprompters.
Let's wrap on Homo.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, if it really hits the fan, we just run away.
Yeah.
Okay.
And cry maybe a little bit if you can. I can cry at any time, so you guys practice that.
I can't cry.
All right.
I know.
Well, I'm gonna go get things set up.
Should
Do you need help?
we?
Or is
No,
it best
no.
if we stay?
I mean, I'm gonna go back to the council chambers. We'll have a
tablet prophecy.
Oh, right.
Oh, right. Yeah, that was the second item on the document.
Kind of teased the prophecy and then talked about boring stuff.
Do you need me for this one? I can go
No.
get
No.
things started.
Yeah, I think you're good. Keep your eyes out.
Right.
Don't trust your assistant.
I'll be sure to
Ow.
give him lots of menial tasks to keep him very busy.
Just don't like let.
Maybe
don't,
if he
don't
does
make it
them wrong,
obvious.
just fire him, and then you don't even have to worry about him being in chambers.
Right.
Did you say fight or fire?
Fire. Fire.
Oh,
Fire.
But
Fire.
that would probably be
fire.
that would be a problem, right, for our plan? What is the plan?
It would be a problem for their plan, too.
Oh, that's
What is? What?
We're meant
the
to.
plan
What's the plan?
Can I have somebody roll a d10 real quick?
to figure out
We're
a
meant to
plan.
find that it is a forgery,
6.
so they need to be employed.
Right. Don't fire them.
Yeah.
He's writing something.
What did you get, a 6?
Yeah.
I think he's rating our goodbye.
Maybe it's the
With
number
a roll.
of guards that are gonna kill us all.
So the speech is tomorrow morning?
Tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Cool.
We have enough time to shave.
Get your cool outfits ready to march down the
Right,
streets.
right.
So what's
don't
Do you
this
need
other
a
thing that we
cool
needed to talk
Need a
about?
cool outfit.
Oh, okay. So
Prophecy.
Prophecy.
yeah. So this is like sort of a hoppers thing that got talked about after the others left the room. There's a branch of the hoppers in Vasica that came across a temple to some unknown deity, and they found several stone tablets that they've sort of slowly been sort of translating. But one of them, they're pretty sure has to do with us, and that we need to go to Fort Hornwood and kill the guy in charge.
What I think they
You
thought
know?
was once recollections
thing.
of the past is turning out to be more of prophecy.
I see.
It was my assignment.
So, so long story short, they need you to assassinate General Brimlock.
Yeah,
Is that because
Very
they
long
don't want
story short, yeah.
because
people fighting?
he's planning on doing a preemptive attack on Mistinor, which
Which
currently
will-
is in a holding pattern because they don't have a reason to spread without provocation, which
Nor
would
the
be
Navy.
For the sake of brevity, do you basically like
Yeah.
read
Yeah.
out the prophecy to Genevieve and tell her
Yeah.
everything? Excellent. I see.
So
That
Classic.
does seem troublesome.
right?
Classic call to action.
So if we're supposed to go kill him, why would we need like weapons lost to time?
it was
Is he
suggested
special?
that we might have those or that we are those, right? But that's how I took it.
I don't know.
Also,
that
technically,
we
I
were
found
lost to
I
time.
found my hammer in the mist too. I don't know. That I found that in Gorka,
that could be something.
but
Do
it was just like on a dead guy. Huh?
Do you know anything about this Brimlock man?
Very little. I know he's a decorated war hero. He fought in the Grimdalian invasion on the front lines, and aside from various groups of adventurers that protected the continent, his forces were instrumental in blocking the advances of ships through across the Sea of Squalls from Grimdal.
The Warforged battlefields that we've seen.
I would like.
What about them?
That's from there, right?
Those were parts of his forces, yes.
Before we
He had more success navally.
attempt to go on a quest for this prophecy, I would like to go to the place where it was found.
The prophecy.
To Vasica?
Is that where they found this Temple of the Unnamed God?
Yeah.
It was near
That's-
Gold Run in the Yellow
Oh,
Plains.
Okay, yeah, that's a problem.
You had 2 blank spots in the book you were reading earlier, right?
Right.
Does Baldwin have a teleportation circle in Vasquez?
He didn't mention any. But that doesn't mean that he doesn't have them.
You could. I
Do
mean,
I know of anything like that?
of
Like in Vasker?
like a teleportation circle. Yeah, there's probably a number. There are a lot of very practiced mages on the continent, all throughout the continent, honestly. So there are bound to be some. You're not sure if any of them would be
Connect. Yeah.
known by Valdwin.
I'm gonna pull out some parchment and that pen and the special ink or whatever.
Oh yeah, you do. You take it out and
I forgot he gave us that.
activating it. The little ruby inset on the pen kind of blinks for a moment, and recalling Valdwin's instructions, you set up your paper and inkwell and put it in the little slot next to the inkwell and kind of wait. And after a moment, the ruby stops blinking and becomes solid red, and you know that it's been activated on his end.
Okay. I'm just gonna write. You wouldn't happen to have a teleportation circle in Vasica, would you?
There's a brief pause, and then the pen dips itself in your ink without your hand and begins writing on your paper in common, and spells out, which side of Vasica?
Oh, shit.
Hey,
East
Alma. Do what?
East side.
You say? Did he say that?
No, but going towards Gold Run, right?
Would be the
East side, right?
southeast,
He said Gold Run.
and the west is deserts, from what I've heard.
I don't remember him saying where the temple was, other than Vasica.
He said Golden.
Okay, tight. So
He said near Golden.
He said. Oh yeah, said east
That's
side.
pretty
Gold
central,
Run.
central eastern.
I'll just say Gold Run.
Oh, because the coast kind of moved up. You did like a bit.
Yeah.
That's right. From the old maps.
Our map of Vasica, which you can find in Maps and Places, probably.
It used to be like the bottom
Maps and
right.
places and
Actually, I don't think this one is. This one
Probably
is in
not.
Maps and Places.
Oh.
Keep it hidden.
I will.
Keep it safe.
He responds.
Who cares?
The pen writes out, not Gold Run specifically. However, there is one, I do have one in a town a little bit southwest of Gold Run called Foxburn.
He has one in Foxburn. That's a little southwest of Gold Run.
Maybe 3 days travel, it writes.
3 days.
How would we use it?
We would ask Baldwin if he
Go
would
there.
mind coming here, and then tomorrow transporting us there, and then whenever we're ready to come back, we
He
have to
has-
ask him to help us again.
He has a teleportation circle just in the other room.
That's
could-
how we got here.
Right, he could bring himself through that and then send you through it to the other.
I
Yeah,
completely
and then
skipped
we
the
would do our
fact that
thing and ask him to send us back to this one, and then we would travel to Fort Hornwood. So I don't know how much time. I mean, Horace made it seem like kind of urgent for us to be there, but
the faster the better.
Right. And I
So
Kind-
after the speech tomorrow morning.
it kind of goes back to what we'd been talking about with the covetous king and not always being certain of the intentions. I trust the Harpers, but do we trust what wrote this tablet?
I don't know.
I'd rather meet with the Harper's leader. See, there's too many moving pieces in the Harpers. Too many.
I
Renee's pretty
autonomous
busy
members.
these days, but he could probably make time for the Mistwalkers.
Sorry, who?
Renee.
We knew that. We were told that.
We were told what?
That Renee is the leader of the Harpers
When?
when we got back.
I don't remember that.
I don't remember that at all. I might have reacted. I'm reacting now. Is it good?
He was
I'm
also
shocked.
he was also named Open Lord of Waterdeep,
I remember
I know
that.
that. Yes.
but his involvement in the Harpers is, you know, a little more hush hush. That's his public face, and he basically when Mert retired and
Retired.
promoted Renaer to his position, That was probably 4 years ago, which was actually 2 years after Renair became the Open Lord of Waterdeep, when Laro Silverhand stepped down.
I knew that. I didn't know about the.
Well, that makes
right,
sense why the leader was like, it's them.
It also works well, for his position being the Open Lord, because he can make sure that the Masked Lords stay in check and no one gains too much power over the other.
That's not like that's happened before.
Right.
Back to your point on the tablet, we could just corroborate it, right? By going.
I told you you've been cleared of your charges, right? You're no
Yes.
longer
Right.
exiled
You
from
did say
Waterdeep?
that.
Excellent.
I think that was in the same breath as Renair being. But we could just gather evidence that what the tablets have said.
Keep in mind, it may not, well, I mean, Valdwin's schedule depending, it may not be as easy to get back from Vasticar as it is to get there.
Right.
Especially, what did he say, 3 days travel from Foxburn to Gold Run? And then, seeking out whatever this temple is, and then turning around, going back to Foxburn, summoning Valdwin.
That's why I was questioning whether or not, how we would get over there, because I don't see Valdwin putting,
Right. I don't
one
think it's
bell towards us.
Right. I don't think it's a bad idea, and it's plausible. It just might be more time consuming than you think.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure how much time we have before Fort Hornwood does something.
And we're
Right.
still missing a couple of clues from the translation that we have in the first place. We can make guesses to what the weapons are, but we don't know.
And the best way to find
What
out is
they
by
are.
going.
And we don't know.
Howie, what's your passive perception?
Oh, sorry,
Passive.
passive.
Yeah.
16.
16. For a brief moment, you get this chill up the back of your neck, and just this weird feeling that you're being watched.
Okay. I look around. Do I see anything?
Looking around with that perception check. No. It goes away a couple seconds later.
All right.
So, press conference tomorrow.
Right.
And then from there, it's kind of a waiting game until the Children of the Mist try to enact their plan.
Yeah, so then Howie gets hired.
And then from there, to Fort Hornwood or to Vassacre?
I'm hoping we can take a day to mull that over.
Kind of see how these things go first.
Right.
Even if, whatever's going on at Fort Hornwood is happening tomorrow, there's nothing we could do about it tomorrow, right?
We also have to make sure that if we do end up feeling it's necessary to go in and, cut off the head, as it were, that it doesn't look to everyone under them that Mistinor sent people to assassinate the
Right.
leader, and then
Right.
they attack it
It
anyway.
is.
And they said that they had an operative that you would meet with to help with infiltration.
There's supposed to be a couple of hoppers that meet us on the way there and sort of fill us in on the situation.
Right.
Interesting. We could potentially, without having to, if you're set on investigating this temple in Vassacre, we could potentially invest in some sort of airship and a crew that could pilot it for you. We could have Valdwin send you there. There's a renowned skyport in Gold Run itself. It's the capital of the Crexan Empire. I don't know if you're familiar. It's it's sort of a two-tiered city built around a plateau and atop a plateau. The skyport is atop the plateau because it's the easiest way to come and go from for trade. So skyships are common in the area. We could have one purchased and a crew rounded up to maybe fly you back once you wrap up there. It would still be a number of days over the sea, but less than...
But we could travel straight to Fort Hornwood instead of coming back to Chilred and then having to travel through the mountains and the woods to get to
Fort Hornwood.
Right.
That's
I
true.
think, wanting to see the temple of this unnamed god is a wish, but not a necessity. We could go, but I can't guarantee that any of us will be able to get a better translation than what we have. It was just a concern. Translations aren't perfect or easy.
If it gets us anything closer to what was literally my life's mission for a while,
Right.
I wouldn't mind seeing it through.
Because, I mean, if this. I don't know what weapons lost to time.
It feels concerning. I think in the same way that everybody was concerned when we were told to put the world back in balance, that we've just arrived and have been told this is what's going to fix everything. Again, it
And if we are the
Wait,
weapons,
wait.
that means someone is
Us.
wielding us,
right.
not us.
In the Severance, weren't a lot of things, quote unquote, lost to time?
Right. And this is about something that the Severance promised,
Yeah.
but I'm not
Well,
sure
I
what.
think the promise, well, perhaps what could be interpreted as the promise of the Severance, forgive me, I've pored over this book many times as well, is that most people thought that when the gods left, it would spell the end of Kavora. It would be the end of life on the material plane if the gods were not here to uphold it. So what was promised of the Severance would be the destruction of the world.
Right.
So it seems like to keep the destruction of the world from happening, we have to keep nations from clashing.
But
Right.
what's
Based on this prophecy, it
The
seems like
correlation.
it seems like that linchpin, the correlation is you, the Adrift, lost to time. When you return, the next time that nations clash is when the Black Rain shall fall again.
So we have to keep them from clashing.
I can't help but think that there are some missing pieces
Yeah.
or some
Could
gaps that haven't been filled in.
Could it be that the black rain falling is not literal? You know, it does describe rains.
Also, is it referring to
The
you know,
organization?
physical black rain falling from the sky,
Or
or
the-
it could be the fall of the Order of the Black Rain.
Exactly. That's
Right.
what I was getting at.
These prophecies are never cut and dry. They're
No.
always so interpretive.
Well, yeah, it's like, could we get the most clear, concise person we know to write the prophecy? That would be nice.
Right?
It's always like, oh, find a poet that likes puzzles. And then they have them write a prophecy. Wouldn't that be fun?
That could also just be the translation.
It could be the translation.
Maybe when this was
Let's
written.
find a poet who likes puzzles to translate this. But the Hornwood thing
But if
is
this-
a cautious. It's another chill run situation. We could topple it and cause more problems than.
Maybe we should talk to the man in charge first.
Which man?
I'm still here.
Uh,
This Renea fellow. Maybe talk to him, get his ideas on what this prophecy means and all that business before you go off assassinating generals.
Yeah, I think it's a really
Yeah.
bad idea to just go assassination with this
If I've learned
information.
one thing in my few years
not
walking around
nations
Kavora,
clashing.
it's that
Yeah, what if it's us?
you shouldn't just go killing without asking questions first.
But if the Black Rain will fall again refers to the
Side-eye at
organization.
Pippin and Genevieve.
If the Black Rain falling refers to the organization, that's not bad.
Exactly. That's what I was saying. Is like it just says the black rain will fall again. It's like
But-
good.
But then the
Right?
follow-up to that being that, the world gets torn asunder. That one is bad. Sorry, I struck you.
But what if the world doesn't?
Not it.
What if the world doesn't is bad? You know what I
What?
mean? If the world that you
What
live
is
in
the
is
Black Rain doing? What?
bad, and it's torn asunder, that means you have torn asunder a bad thing.
No one actually knows what the Order of Black Rain is up to.
What do I know about the Order of Black Rain?
They were
I don't
also
think you would
after
know
this weapon.
anything about that.
Okay,
Yeah, it's
I have no
it's-
idea what you're talking about. What's the Black Rain? Who? What?
What we have found is they've met, and it seems to be a concentration of nobles. that I've
Gnomes?
Nobles and people.
Nobles.
Nobles and people in power. Supposedly are members of this secretive organization. Victorio Castellanter was notably among their ranks.
They control, if they have a bit of economy, they seem to control concentrations of people.
Right. Less so in the forms of, whereas the silver stake was create a problem and be the solution to that problem. The Order of the Black Rain, as we can speculate, is more about gently nudging things in the direction that they would like to see them go, and staying behind the scenes, not working to be the heroes of time, but shaping time without ever being discovered.
But what if them falling is what leads to...
Weren't they also after this weapon, though?
Yes. They were our best lead at the time.
And we don't know what the weapon is.
Didn't you say they attacked you on the ocean on your way to
They did
Grimdall?
attack us on a ship.
And cited it, I think, directly.
Their masks were like sort of a self-destruction device.
But what Silas just mentioned could also be something. What if
Oh, that's new.
the black rain falling and the world being torn asunder isn't a literal everything will be ashes and bad, but that maybe all of these people pushing and pulling towards their goals for their own interest is what falls here. That's not bad. Even our own interest may not be the good and correct one. I mean, we're trying, but
Maybe it's like a reset.
Yeah.
it seems
You
that
ever,
way.
you ever
So
just
kings
playing
became
chess
peasants.
and shit's not going your way, so you
they're
oops, I
nobles.
knocked all the pieces off. Better start over.
Right. I mean, that's what we've learned from when we were talking of balance, is destruction isn't always bad. And maybe in this case, it's renewal.
So
You know, you burn before the grass can grow, kind of thing.
maybe we try and get a hold of Renair and talk to the people who have been doing this research. There could be another similar temple here in Winfell that we can get to quicker.
I seem to recall the empty. Was that something?
The empty?
Does that mean anything?
The empty.
I believe I briefly remembered something about the weapon and the empty being mentioned in the same.
I'm not sure. Perhaps Renee might have the answers you're looking for.
Likely.
So, since
Who am I?
it feels like we are in sort of a rush,
We're in our
Cam
own
suddenly has an
holding
existential
state.
crisis. What's
we're
going
in
on?
sort of a rush, I feel like, to. I mean, the way that Horace was speaking seemed like we needed to get to Fort Hornwood soon. So I wonder if we can, message back and forth with Renea sort of while we're headed in that direction, and if we need to change course, we can, rather than not being where we need to be when they decide to go
Right.
ahead with their attacks.
So that puts tomorrow in a bit of a bind. Because the plan was to make an announcement tomorrow and then stick around to see what happens. But if we need to leave,
If they're planning to make this sort of ploy with the documents happen within the next 10 days, and we make our, hey,
Should
we're here
we-
tomorrow, then it probably will happen pretty quickly.
Should we put a pause on the announcement then?
I think we should go ahead as soon as
Because
possible.
won't that get things the ball rolling?
announce or leave.
Announce.
Well-
I mean, both. As soon as we...
But they also stated that it was going to happen within the next 10 days regardless.
Yeah.
Mm,
Our
The announcement might push things up.
push things up.
Yeah. Our announcement is not only for our plans and those things, but it also gives the people of Chilrun the fact that we're back, and also that we are aware of this, the Children of Mist, and that it is an issue that we do not agree with. It's like tenfold that
so
we
if we
that
can
we announce things.
kickstart that into, becoming resolved within the next few days, and then we can head towards Fort Hornwood. I feel like that would be still a quicker option than
Back and forth.
going to a different continent. I would like to go see it, but I do feel like this is a little bit more pressing.
Sure. Okay.
All right. Well, I'm going to go help Kimberly get things in order. Tomorrow morning, tomorrow we'll call it the strike of noon. We'll have our conference and see where things go from there.
All right.
Genevieve hugs Silas, gives you a kiss on the cheek.
Ew.
Same to Alma.
Prove it. Don't.
And then makes her exit. The rest of you are left with an evening to ponder, and enough time if you'd like to work on another of your bubbles. You can certainly do that as well.
Yeah.
So what does everybody get up to in their downtime?
Bubbles. Probably bubbles, and then like trying to write out what I'm gonna say.
Good call.
In the speech.
I am just picking apart this prophecy, and I'm just in the library probably
Holy shit.
until I fall asleep there.
What is
That's a nat 20, baby.
What is
Not
that?
20, that's 2 successes. So you get to fill in 2 bubbles, and your DC only goes up by 1.
Yay.
Ola, could I pick your brain on spooky things that I'm not aware of that I want to control?
Yeah. Yeah, anytime. Really, I am an expert in
I have
that.
a bear or a bat?
Yeah.
Where?
That, and he left.
They have tissues.
Yeah, I got this one.
Oh.
Now you have a fancy thing to wave goodbye to the. I was gonna say passengers of the Titanic. Jesus. I would have used that reference regardless of the news. Bear bat.
Very good.
I could feel it. I like did this, and the rocks, the gravel of the driveway at my nose.
That's the worst.
So I guess I'm gonna help you with your mist.
No, I was just yes.
Okay.
I was cooking earlier and I dropped a lot of things and I cleaned it up, but I'm ashamed. But I'm just trying to see if I could grab more, if I could have hands that are not my own, that are made of mist. Stop looking at me like that. You talk about volcanoes in your brain, and I don't look at you like you're insane.
No, it's not really about the subject of what you're after, and more the roundabout style of getting there. Yeah, we can work on that.
Yeah, I want to lift things with things that don't
Sure.
have hands.
Yeah, I have some thoughts on how we can approach that. I'm gonna just start walking to the other side of the library, and then I'm just gonna whip around and chuck a book at him.
I'm gonna like
Catch!
I'm gonna like instinctively do this, but like the mist is gonna try to like clasp it.
Yeah, go ahead and make an Arcana check with advantage.
Okay.
If you can catch a book, you can
I think it's just
pick up
busted.
a
It is.
book.
And it has to- Hell yes. That's that would be a 19 I'll put.
Nice, that's a success. You don't manage to catch the book, unfortunately, but you do slow it down enough that it doesn't hurt.
It just like catches it, but it just like pushes through the mist.
Before
It's
he
like clouds in Mario.
like the second I recognize him like about to celebrate, I chuck another.
Yeah, and just back and forth, trying to stop things, getting more of a feel for the solidity.
I breathed in to say I want to deflect missiles so bad.
That's not what we're doing here. That's not the training.
What is Cholula up to?
Toulouse busy getting swole at first. And then
writing your speech, right?
And writing a speech. I
Right,
was just thinking, like, does anybody feel like maybe the two volcanoes simultaneously erupting is similar to, like, maybe a double-sided tree dying kind of situation? Like, do we think maybe the volcanoes are the, whatever the Earth
two.
one is? Or maybe a different primordial? Maybe one of the ones we don't know about?
That was more of a
It's all possible.
reflection of balance again, right?
Uh-huh.
Do we know of two geographically of two peaks like that might be dormant? Dormant volcanoes, by the way, are ones that are not active
Right.
constantly. It seemed that Pippin earlier was very confused as to geographical things.
Pippin was kind of stuck in one place for a long
I know. I
I've
don't
never
know
heard the term volcano. I was learning poisons and how to stab people.
Fantastic.
The volcanoes seem to trigger something for Howie, right?
Yeah, there were people that came over to Basker
Do you
when a volcano exploded.
remember
first man.
from where?
First men came from.
First men came from the land of elders, a
Oh, that's
continent
right.
that was swallowed by the sea.
I wrote that right.
Undersea
here
volcanoes are common.
That sounds fun.
I was just thinking, like, we talked about volcanoes, but I thought, like, what peaks do I know that would resemble that? And I couldn't think of any. I thought I'd throw it to the group instead of rolling for it.
Make one of you roll.
What does Howard get up to this evening?
Yeah, I'll want to work on my investigation some more.
Yeah, go for it. How do you do so?
It's a really good question. I already started poking around.
You didn't
That
feel like you
room.
were being watched, right?
Yeah, you could investigate
But
some
not-
other rooms.
I'll investigate some other rooms.
Absolutely.
Do I have like a room I'm staying in by myself, or what's the deal?
Yeah, you each have a room within.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna poke around that room.
Absolutely, go ahead and make an
Find
investigation check.
secrets. Find what the last tenant left behind.
It is 14.
14, that's a success.
Nice.
Howie, you go into your chambers and are poking around. Really, really nice chambers, especially compared to the shithole you've been living in for a while.
Hell yeah.
You didn't
Why is that
he
funny?
he might have grown to like that space, you know?
Nah.
This place
The
is
mines?
luxurious.
Yeah.
There's a nice.
Mine's broken.
There's the staff here has actually replaced your bed with a smaller one that's more fit to your size.
Oh.
Just to make you feel more at home. There's some nice decoration. There's a window on your room that overlooks a nice little courtyard and garden. That's kind of like central to the space, to the keep. And each room actually has its own privy nearby that actually has running water.
What?
And you're not sure if it is arcane in nature or mechanical, but kind of poking through, trying to see if there are any secret passages within your room. Check the room and you don't find anything. You go into the privy and are kind of poking around, feeling around the mirror, and don't find anything. Looking down, kind of like checking the toggles on the sink, turning it off and on. And you look up, and for a brief moment, looking in the mirror, you see standing behind you in the doorway a figure of shadow.
Okay.
It seems humanoid vaguely, partially translucent, and at the eyes there's just this faint sort of white glow. And you quickly turn around to see who the fuck is standing there, and there's nothing.
Okay.
That's canon. That's
Touchdown.
Guess we gotta run the room and look around. Yeah.
like, just rises
Make a
up.
perception check. Book slowly raises.
All right.
Yay. That's how he's new catchphrase or whatever. Okay. Like anything, good or bad.
Okay.
Okay.
How are the curly fries?
24.
24.
Yeah.
You don't see anything. You look around your room, and there's no one in here. You open your door and look out into the hallway. It's quiet, no shadows, no figures, but you just hear this faint, distant whisper. It sounds like a single voice. You can't even make out what it's saying. It's just a faint, distant whisper. And then it stops.
Cool. I'm gonna sleep real easy tonight. That's fine.
Alma, after you help Silas,
Yeah, I'm just trying to pick apart this fucking prophecy that's wigging me out.
okay, is there anything like mechanically that you'd like to do with that, or?
Oh yes, I'm just staying in this library, and I'm picking up all the books I've been throwing at Silas. They're actually the ones I've been pulling to compare. And I'm just gonna spend as much time as I can and still get a long rest, trying to cross-reference either like major, what would it be called? Like natural disasters or ecological events against ones mentioned here, or like, I don't know, Silas tried to find this weapon for like
Yeah, I could stay in
decade.
the room and like help. Like you just bark out what books you need, and I'll like try to find something.
Yeah.
Occasionally throwing one at you.
Yeah.
I like
That.
I look at one book for a really long time and then I slam it shut and I just go, weapon? If it says weapon, yeah.
Make an investigation check.
Could I provide the help?
Oh yeah,
Actually.
with advantage.
Whee! 11. I'm not a 11. I'm not really a reader. I'm doing my
11
best.
is enough. You don't find there are no, due to the nature of the Age of Absence, there aren't recordings of weathered patterns. Even before, you get the sense based off of the information in this book on the Severance that during that war that led to the Severance, a lot of things were destroyed. A lot of writings from that time before. Some things have survived, mostly things that were carved into stone. And you can tell, researchers can tell from studying those tablets that there was parchment and paper and books as they are depicted on some of them, but none of those things remain. You don't know if it was like a, again, translating for us, like a Library of Alexandria moment where it was all kept in one place and then that place got destroyed, or maybe that on a larger scale of like multiple places that were all taken down. There are a lot of theories, and as this book is wont to do on the Severance, there's a lot of very like opinion articles within it, where the author is just like musing on like perhaps this.
Every true crime novel in the world.
Yeah, a couple of those passages refer to the Drought Lord, who is part of the prime deities, though not viewed as one that it's like super chill to worship. The Drought Lord is the god of war, and they theorize that perhaps the Drought Lord was on the side of destroying the mortals and was reveling in the war, and perhaps the destruction of that knowledge was to get back at the Fabricator, which is a separate god whose domain was knowledge. And perhaps the destruction of those libraries was a ploy, and then they go on to muse more about like perhaps the gods were more like us than we think, and petty in their ways, and yada yada. Not a lot of like helpful information, but just like maybe this is how it happened. Maybe we're not so different, gods and I.
Abians?
Yeah, at a certain point of the night, I just close all the books I was looking at and slowly slide my chair out, and I just silently go to bed.
Absolutely.
Looking different.
I'm asleep on the other side of the room.
I like throw a ball of paper at you.
Excellent. As you all eventually, easily or not, find your rest and awaken to prepare for the large public speech that you will give that morning, we're going to go ahead and end tonight's episode.
Wow.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Before we go, I'm gonna read some lovely patrons' names.
Read them.
Read them.
Read them.
I will.
Read them for Phil.
Nice.
That felt good.
Did you say read them for Phil?
Read them for Phil.
Read them filthily.
Read them filthily.
Oh,
I'll try.
yeah.
Put some
That's not
filth
what I
on
said,
it.
but all right.
Maybe not the last one.
This is, yeah. Yeah, maybe.
You read the
definite.
last one
Like,
Just no.
with
No.
with love and respect.
Yeah. Okay. I'll accept for the last one.
Yeah.
Special shout out to our dungeon delvers, Freya Odin's daughter.
You gotta get close to the mic on this.
yeah, yeah. Put your whole head in your shirt.
Just gotta hold it up. Hold it in front of you.
Scott Shear. Definitely not Sam.
That one.
Nita Yilva. Phoenix-born creation.
This sucks.
Robin Stone.
I regret it.
And Tina Holt.
Yay!
Huge shout out to our
It's over.
patrons. Thank you guys so much for the continued support. I hope you enjoy all of the extra little things that we've been giving you over there. Speaking of which, one of those is Chaos Hours. We're about to do it right now. And you can find it the day after this episode airs on YouTube. The Chaos Hours will also air for our Patreon supporters. And you can see our thoughts and musings. I have some fun things that I get to chat about during this Chaos Hours. So we'll see you all there. Thank you guys again so much for tuning in, and we'll catch all of you next week. Same great time, same great place. But until then, stay safe out there, adventurers.
Cover my mouth laughing.